TOLOs out there. Who do you like tonight and this weekend as well? Welcome into Wire to Wire. I'm Cole Bryson, solo today. And man, it's the last show, the final hoorah of 2025. So good to be with you on this Wednesday, this New Year's Eve. And one more time, here we go. It's the last one, and it's going to be the best one. Hopefully, a big show coming up. Again, getting right into the predictions, my score predictions for what happens tonight and tomorrow. In the very next segment, we rank the best sports moments of 2025. I need your help, Tolos, with that. Also, Daily Wire, Smitty, one more time this year of Sports Talk Media Network joins the show. We're going to get to the worst sports takes of the year. What were the worst sports takes of 2025? We get to that today as well. Bill Bender of The Sporting News at 5 o'clock today. I know it's a day early. We normally do it on Thursday, but it is the TOLO Takeover today at 5 o'clock. Your opportunity, Tolos, to take over these airwaves. It's going to be a lot of fun. How my bracket looks for the college football playoff. Also joined in the 6 o'clock hour by good friend of the show, Ramon Robinson of RR Elite Quarterback Academy. I love Ramon Robinson, and man, we get to talk to Ramon one more time in 2025. Dewey on the stream says, last show ever. Dewey, did I say that on accident? Who knows? It might be. It might not be. Hopefully not, right? You never know around these parts the way radio is nowadays, but hopefully no. We will be back in 2026, the last show of 2025. Happy New Year to all of you listening today for the 38 Tolos watching the show on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Happy New Year to you as well. Also, for those listening in Spartanburg on 97.1 FM and Greenville 97.7 FM, and on the Odyssey app, the free Odyssey app, AUDACY, as well as the iHeartRadio app. So many ways to watch and listen to the show. If you were a part of the show in 2025, very much appreciate you. If you were a part of the show in 2024, very much appreciate you as well. 2026 is going to be the best year yet. So let's dive right into it. College football predictions for the college football playoff this weekend. Now, here's the deal with today's show. Here's where we stand. I always, on most days, Diesel and I ask a lot of you Tolos, right? We really do. We ask a lot of you. We ask you to participate, in the Upset Picks Challenge. We ask you to call in. We ask you to text in. Well, here's the deal. The whole show today, I am asking you, Tolos, if you're listening to this, driving around on 85, wherever you are right now in the upstate, I want maximum interaction today. And I mean, like, I'm by myself. You can't call too much. You can't text too much. You can't comment on the stream too much. I want maximum interaction from you Tolos today. It's the last show of the year. Let's make it the best one. If you're listening, I don't care if you're one of the listeners that normally doesn't interact. We love you still, but no, today I want the interaction. I want to hear from you. If you're hearing me right now, I want you to hear me say, I want to hear from you today on this very last show in 2025. It's been such a great year, and so many thanks to our sponsors and our listeners as well. But I really want to hear from you today, not only because I'm solo, but because it is the final show of the year, and I love the interaction. I would much rather conversate with all of you Tolos across the upstate and listening across the country or watching the show than monologue for 4 hours. So let's get right into it. Randy on the YouTube stream says, Happy New Year. Randy, Happy New Year to you and yours as well. Hope it's a great year for you. Dewey says, Happy birthday. Dewey, you're about 7 months too early on that. Appreciate the very early birthday wish there. Remind you again in July. Maybe you can do it again in July. By the way, right now, really good game going on. The Reliquest Bowl. Iowa leads Vandy 31-24. 5.5 minutes to play in that game. A loaded slate of college football all day today. You've got a couple other games happening right now as well. And obviously the The college football playoff game tonight, Arizona State right now and Duke are tied at 14. That game's on CBS, and the Tony the Tiger Bowl at 3 o'clock. One I'm looking forward to should kick off here any second now. Michigan, Texas, man, that should be a lot of fun. This afternoon, 3:30, Nebraska, Utah. So all of the games today early, making way for the 7:30 kick tonight between Miami and Ohio State, a 9.5-point spread on that game in favor of Ohio State. Dewey already getting his prediction in for tonight's game between Miami and Ohio State. Want to hear what your prediction is as well. As I go through mine, as I give my reasonings as well, want to hear yours on the Joy Law Firm text line, 844-326-3663. Again, that's 844-FANFONE, F-A-N-F-O-N-E. The phone lines are open as well all show. They're open the entire show today because, like I said, it's the last one of the year. Want to hear from you, and it's going to be a lot of fun today. So phone lines are open. Joy Law Firm text line open. You can comment on the stream. 43 Tolos watching the show right now between Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. We start with Miami, Ohio State tonight. I talked about this game a lot yesterday, and as I was doing my show prep this morning, I kind of found it difficult to get a good gauge, to get a good pulse on what happens tonight. And I think that's a really good thing, by the way. When you're having a tough decision, making picks on these games, I think you're finally weeding out the G5 schools that didn't belong in the first place, right? Now we're getting to the meat and potatoes. That's the way it's supposed to feel. These games are supposed to feel difficult to predict. Now, Miami, Ohio State, unless it's changed, let me look here. The line, no, I just said it a minute ago. The line is at 9.5, so it's Ohio State laying 9.5. Total set at 40.5. So they don't anticipate a lot of scoring. Here's what I like. I like Miami to keep this game close. And I'm going to get to my official score prediction in a second. And I also, by the way, it's just random side note, I also find it interesting looking at the team totals right now for any Hurricane fans out there. Vegas has the team total for Miami set at 16, and I would probably go under on that. Ohio State's defense is fantastic, so I would probably go. They have the team total for Ohio State set at 24.5. They have the team total for Miami set at 16. I'd probably go under on both, just to be quite frank. I think this is a low-scoring game tonight, and I talked about it yesterday. We start with Miami, Ohio State. I love what Miami can do up front. I love their defensive front. I love their front seven. I love their D-line. I think Miami up front tonight will give Ohio State and Ryan Day some complicated looks, and I think it'll show just how good Julian Sayin and Ryan Day are at adjusting. Look, here's the sample size. What we know, we've seen Ryan Day, we've seen Julian Sayin all season now. We now know what they are. We know what to expect. But in these type of games where Ohio State's now had nearly, 3.5 weeks to prepare for Miami, Miami's had a week or so to prepare for Ohio State, I think it now comes down to, while we know what each team is, while we know what the quarterbacks can do, I think it comes down to the game within the game. When you get to these big tournament games and the pressure mounts and you've got two really good football teams, for me, there's a lot of important factors, but I go tonight. I say number one, whoever wins this game tonight will be the team in my mind that will be able to adjust on the fly and adjust effectively on the fly. I think Miami will give Ohio State looks that they're not comfortable with. I also think Ohio State defensively will give Carson Beck and Ryan Day a few looks that they're not comfortable with. These defenses, I expect tonight to come out in a lot of different formations, eye candy, right, to try to disguise what they're doing. And I think the team tonight that can fly by the seat of their belt, fly by the seat of their pants, if you will, and adjust quickly, swiftly, and accordingly, I think that team has the advantage tonight. Is it going to be Ryan Day because he's calling plays tonight? Is it going to be Miami because you have a seasoned and veteran play caller and Carson Beck at quarterback? Maybe so. But I think in these big games, things get tight. You have to make adjustments. You have to pick up on certain things the defense is going to do. I think whoever can do that tonight will win the game. I do like the fact that Carson Beck is an experienced quarterback. I think that weighs into this game a lot. I think that makes a tremendous impact on the outcome of the game. Julian Sayan's been fantastic. 3,000-plus yard passer, right? I think only, without looking, 6 interceptions on the season, something like that. Very low interception ratio, a good touchdown to interception ratio. I like what Julian Sayan's done, but I do think there's something to be said about having a guy in Carson Beck who has that seasoned factor, the veteran experience, if you will. So with all that being said, I like Carson Beck's experience. I like the raw talent ability of Julian Sayan. I like what Miami does on the line of scrimmage, especially on the defensive side of things. I think that they're going to really cause problems for Ohio State. So that takes me to this point, and this is where I want to get to. All of that being said brings me here. Okay, if all that's true, who has the guys? Who has the horses? With all of that being said, with Ryan Day's play calling, with the newness there, and I put newness in air quotes because he's not really new at play calling. He's called plays before. Well, I think the game going to be tight tonight. Lines of scrimmage are going to be dominant. Both defenses are going to be really good tonight. That brings me to the question that I just asked. Who has the horses? Who's got the guys? Who do I trust more on a 3rd and 8 when the pocket breaks down and you can throw the ball up? I'm not saying Miami doesn't have the guys. I like what Miami can do offensively as well, and I really like Carson Beck. But ultimately, I think Jeremiah Smith and ultimately I think Ohio State might have the best wide receiver room in the country. And when things get tight tonight, Julian Sayan, not saying that he's going to outplay Carson Beck, but I just think at his disposal, I think Julian Sayan has a better arsenal of weapons at his disposal tonight. And when things do get tight, Nick Saban used to say it all the time, just get the ball to the playmakers, right? In Ohio State, Ryan Day knows that. He's had playmakers, some pretty good ones at Ohio State. If it comes down to just getting the ball out to the playmakers, I like Ohio State tonight. I like Ohio State to win. I think it's low scoring. Official score prediction, I'm going 17-10. Ohio State 17, Miami 10. That's my official score prediction for tonight's game. I like Miami to keep it close. The point spread, 9.5, I think that's too many points. I think Miami does cover. Ohio State, I believe they're 0-2 covering against top 10 teams this season. I believe I saw that earlier today. So give me Ohio State to win, but give me Miami to cover. That's where I am. Ohio State wins 17-10 tonight. Tolos, let me know, am I wrong on that? Am I right on that? Do you agree, disagree? 844-326-3663. Randy on YouTube says Miami 21, Ohio State 6. Dewey says Ryan Day sucks. He'll be fired after this loss. I don't know about that, Dewey. 844-326-3663 on the Joy Law Firm text line. Texter says, bold prediction, Clemson, offensive coordinator, ? Texter, appreciate the text, by the way. Bold prediction? I think the bold prediction is Leftwich from Texas Tech or Monken from the Baltimore Ravens. If you're asking me for a bold prediction. Now, do I think Monken, I think Monken could happen. I think it could happen. I know I talked to Will Vandervoort about it yesterday, and I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility because people, by the way, that was a nasty hit just now in that Vandy, Iowa game. By the way, Iowa leads by 10, 4 minutes to go. Todd Monken's being reported as one of the names to watch. So not saying that the reporters that are reporting that don't know what they're talking about. They certainly might. They may. Again, I don't know that I'd leave Baltimore to come to Clemson unless you're just dying to get back into the college game like Will Vandervoort said yesterday. So bold prediction, I'd say maybe Todd Monken or Leftwich from Texas Tech, but I don't know. Do I just have this gut feeling today that it's going to be Chad Morris? Kind of. I kind of do. Again, not a lot of intel on that. I mean, I've talked to a few people, and Chad certainly, his name's in consideration. I can tell you that. I mean, that's a fact. But bold prediction, I don't know if Chad Morris is a bold prediction or not. So we'll see. We'll continue to monitor that in the days to come. All right, now the other games happening. We've got to get to the predictions. I'm going 17-10 Ohio State over Miami. Oregon, Texas Tech. This one's tough. I think this is going to be a shootout. I don't want to say like not a lot of defense, but two high-powered offenses. I'm going to go with Oregon. I'm going to go with Oregon over Texas Tech. I went back and forth several times on this, but I'm going to go Oregon 35, Texas Tech 31. Give me the over. A lot of points. Again, not that it's bad defense, but two really high-powered offenses. I like Dante Moore a lot. I've got a friend at Texas Tech on the coaching staff, so I'm pulling for them. Go get them, Rob Green. But I don't know. I think Oregon gets it done. So I'm going 17-10 Ohio State over Miami, 35-31 Oregon over Texas Tech tomorrow. And then the game that I struggled with the most, and I mean struggled with the most, Alabama, Indiana. This is where I was really torn. I went back and forth so many times on this one. Last I looked, I think it's a 7-point spread, maybe 7.5-point spread in favor of Indiana. Kind of going back to what I said with Ohio State and Miami. 7 kind of feels like a lot. I know Alabama's been inconsistent at times this year, and Ty Simpson has been inconsistent at times this year. Right now, it is a 7-point spread in favor of Indiana. But I just don't count Alabama out in this one. I mean, they've got dudes. They've got playmakers. I know Indiana's really good. I trust Indiana, to be quite frank, a little more right now than I trust Alabama. That's why I'm picking Indiana to win the game tomorrow night. I'm going to pick Indiana 24, Alabama 20. Another close game. I could be wrong. There could be 2 or 3 blowouts in these college football playoff games. I don't think that will be the case. But this Alabama-Indiana game, I think this is the one that I'm most intrigued by. I'm most intrigued to see what will happen between these two programs because Alabama has struggled to run the football. And Ty Simpson, like I said, has been like Ty Simpson's good is really, really good. But Ty Simpson's been inconsistent at times this year too. And if he's inconsistent, if they can't run the football, I think Indiana has the guys on the outside to get over the top of Alabama secondary and make them pay. Now, we saw, Oklahoma jumped on Alabama in the first round game, and that didn't matter. I think that was great poise shown by Alabama, but I think Indiana is a little bit more complete of a team than Oklahoma was. So I'm going to roll with Indiana, rolling with the favorite. So far, I've picked the favorite in the Ohio State game. I've picked Oregon. They're the favorite. They're favored by 2.5. I like Indiana to win, but I like Bama to cover, which leaves us with Ole Miss, Georgia. I'm not saying this won't be a good game, but I think of the 4, I would probably put this one at number 4. I don't know that this will be the best game of the 4. Maybe not even the second best. I would probably rank this one 4. I could be wrong, but Ole Miss, Georgia, I'm going to go Georgia to win. Georgia 28-17. Later in the show, I'll get to my college football playoff bracket, and I'll tell you who I have right now at this very moment winning it all. But I'll say this. Ole Miss is good. Love Trinidad. I think their offense is electric. I love what they do offensively. But I told somebody the other day, when it comes to Georgia, I don't know if I feel good, if I'm these other teams, if I'm Miami, if I'm Oregon, if I'm Ohio State, if I'm Alabama. I don't know if I feel good with the conversation that's happening right now. What do I mean by that? What do I mean? What am I talking about? Nobody's talking about Georgia. You notice that? Or is it just me? People are talking about Miami. People are talking about Ohio State because they're the defending national champions and a really good football team. People are talking about Texas Tech with the amount of NIL money, and Indiana, and Alabama, and Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, Trinidad, right? All the big drama there. I get it. And maybe there's nothing to this whatsoever. Maybe it's just me having this dumb, weird gut feeling. But I will tell you this. I don't know if enough people are talking about Georgia. And the last coach of these 8 coaches standing The last coach that I'm going to count out in the college football playoff is Kirby Smart. That might mean nothing. It might mean something. But all I'm telling you is, okay, y'all count out Kirby Smart? Okay, well, let's just go see and let's go see who wins the whole freaking thing. Not saying it's going to happen. Maybe it does. I like Georgia to beat Ole Miss. I like Georgia. I like the spot they're in. I like the matchup. Kirby's had like 3.5 weeks to prepare for these cats. Ole Miss is good, but are you kidding me? It's hard to bet against Kirby Smart, and it's hard to bet against them. So I don't know that I'm gonna bet against them right now. So winners, I'm going Ohio State over Miami 17-10, Oregon over Texas Tech 35-31, Indiana over Alabama 24-20, and I'm going Georgia over Ole Miss 28-17 tomorrow night. Those are my official score predictions, the 4 games that are happening. Purnell on Facebook says, I think Miami will win. They beat the 14th and 23rd ranked offenses in Notre Dame and Texas A&M. I also feel like Alabama will lose. Well, Purnell, number one, appreciate the comment. Appreciate you watching the show on Facebook. Number two, I could, just for the record, I could see Miami winning. I mean, heck, I only have it a 1-score game. So while I am picking Ohio State, I'll tell you, just to be quite frank, I went back and forth on it. I went back and forth on this one. I could see Miami winning. I respect what Miami's done, especially up front defensively, man. They've got a really stout defense. And I like Carson back. I know he's got a lot of heat, and for whatever reason, a lot of people don't like the guy, but I like Carson back a lot. So I could see him winning, but again, I just – maybe I'm wrong. I think the guys on the outside for Ohio State – if Ryan Day just does a good enough job of getting them the football, I think they pay. I think they make Miami pay. I really do. So those are my predictions. I'll post them online. I'll post them on our Facebook page at the Fan Upstate. But Tolos, what was the best sports moment of 2025? We'll talk about it next. Matt Kraft says, I'm still working out my prediction, talking about the game tonight between Miami and Ohio State. Well, Matt Kraft, take your time. I mean, if you wait any longer, you'll just be able to give the final score. You realize the game's tonight, right? I mean, how much longer is this thing going to take? I mean, come on. I mean, we got to get these predictions in. If you want to hold it for the TOLO takeover at 5 o'clock, that's fine too, whatever you want. By the way, I do have a really good question for you TOLOs and the TOLO takeover at 5 o'clock. So when you call, be ready to answer a question. And I'll go ahead and preface and tease a little bit. Let me scroll down to it. Oh, all right, TOLO takeover. Just to put this in the back of your mind for the 5 o'clock segment. And I know Tom in Somerville is already excited. He texted me or messaged me on X earlier today. And I did let him know that the TOLO takeover, normally on Thursday, moving it to today because it's the last show. I'm going to ask you, each of you that call in for the TOLO takeover, if you can't call at 5 and you want to call beforehand or after the fact, that's fine too. I want you to call, give me your team, college or pro, doesn't matter. And I will then, in turn, give you what your team's New Year's resolution should be. I'm going to do it on the spot with no research, so I might be good at it, I might not. But that's the game for 5 o'clock during the TOLO takeover. You give me your team. I give you what the New Year's resolution for your team should be, college or pro, at 5 o'clock. By the way, Duke just scored a little trick play, and the Blue Devils have taken the lead. A really good game, actually, the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl on CBS. I switched it over because the Vandy game kind of got boring. Duke now leads 21-14 with 6:06 to go in the second quarter of play. And by the way, let's see here. The first game, Vandy. Looking for the score. Iowa leads Vandy 34-27. Only 30 seconds to go in the ball game. So it looks like Iowa will be victorious over Vandy. Diego Pavia's final hurrah will end in a loss. Didn't really look like a Heisman performance out there today, Diego, but thanks for coming anyways. By the way, Texas leads Michigan. Oh, man, I got to get 2 TVs in this place, don't I? Texas, Michigan's on ABC. So now, what do? Do I flip over? Yeah, sorry, Duke. Sorry, Arizona State, but I'm going to flip over and turn on Texas, Michigan. I think that's going to be a good game. That it says it's on ABC. So we'll see. We'll see if that's correct. I'm looking for it in the studio again, running solo today. So I'll keep you updated on all these scores. And the one game about to go final between Vandy and Iowa. It has gone final. Yep. Final score 34-27. That is your final score. And Nebraska, Utah just kicked off. So you now have Nebraska, Utah live. You have Duke, Arizona State live, and Michigan, Texas live. A lot going on right now. For whatever reason, I can't get the Michigan, Texas game on my screen here in the studios, but maybe soon. Duke, by the way, leads Arizona State by 1 touchdown. Matt Kraft says, man, the SEC is having an abysmal bowl season against other Power Fours. Are they? What about the ACC? How's their bowl season going, Matt Kraft? I don't want to get into this ACC conference, but it's bowl season. It doesn't really matter that much, does it? Like, do you really hold a lot of weight? Do you put a lot of stock into how a conference does in bowl season when – I don't know. We'll see. By the way, on the Joy Law Firm text line, I got to read this. This is awesome. Cornship gets in and says, daughter and I have got you streaming, playing a quick 9 up at Rolling Green to ring in the new year. Shout out Cornship. Shout out Cornship's daughter, and shout out anybody else that's listening that can hear us, that can hear me up at Rolling Green to bring in the new year. Rolling Green should be a sponsor of Wire to Wire. I tell you what, Cornship, make sure you tell them that when when you're checking out, or I don't know, I don't play golf. Whenever you're leaving, put the phone up to the manager's ear, and I'll give a good pitch. I love it. Rolling Green. I can't say I've been because I don't play golf. I'm assuming that's what it is, right? So getting in a quick 9 there. Happy New Year, Cornship, to you and yours. Happy New Year to all of the Tolos out there as well, to the 74 watching the show on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Dan B checking in. Good to see him, as well as Madcraft, Dewey, a lot of others in there already. Parnell was in there. Randy Pittman, 14, was in the stream earlier, chatting away. Let's see. Dan B says Iowa was the upset, and a few had them, including Buckeye Mike, who was off the board. Oh, in the upset picks challenge, who was off the board all year until bowl week 1 and then hits again. And then he also says, "Oh, dang, Cole had Iowa." Dan, did I pick Iowa in the upset picks challenge? Did I? Did I hit? How many did that hit for? They beat Vandy. Oh, I think I do remember taking Iowa now. I think I do remember taking Iowa. Dan, call the show if you can. I've got to ask you on air about this. Call the show at 844-FAN-PHONE. My day is going to be made. My day is going to be made with a capital M if I found out that I hit on the very last upset picks challenge of the year. Like, my year will be made. That's freaking awesome. Corn Chip, me, Mike, and Bill Bender. Oh, man, and Bill's coming on the show later, so I'll get to break the news to Bill that he hit. And this was it, right? This was the last one? How about that? Let's go. Let's go. Upset picks challenge coming to a close. And I had forgotten. We made those picks so long ago. Dan, I honestly had forgotten who I took in the upset picks challenge, but I took Iowa over Vandy. Just didn't believe in Diego Pavia. What was the spread on that game, by the way? Do you know? Let me look on ESPN app. Was it a big spread? Oh, man, where do I move up? Am I going to move up in the standings a good bit? I'm excited now. I don't know what the spread was. Dan B, let me know if you have it, but that's awesome. Let's freaking go Iowa. I didn't even realize that. I wish I would have known. I'd have been pulling for them the whole time. I didn't really care who won. Didn't have a dog in the fight, but let's go Hawkeyes, man. I freaking love it. Upset picks challenge. Oh, I think we've got Dan. Let's see. Let's see if this is Dan B. We're going to get to the best sports moments of the year, but hey, it's a whatever happens kind of show. It's the last one of the year. Dan, is that you?
Yes, it is.
What's happening, Dan the man?
How's it going?
Happy New Year to you and yours.
Happy New Year to you too.
So 5.5 points, is that right?
That's correct.
Let's freaking go. All right, so this was the last one. Do you know, and here's what I'm curious of, and this is why people should not quit picking in the upset pick challenge. When you hit on like a 5.5 point spread like I did and a few others, it's really more than 5.5 though, right? Because you got to factor in like all the people who didn't pick, they're going to drop a couple of points, right?
Oh, sure.
So that's
like you basically went like you finish in, well, minus, it's not finished yet.
Not finished.
You're going to finish around 37th.
Oh, let's go. Let's go.
You were 55th leading going into bowl.
Wow. So I went from 55th to 30 what?
7. So almost 20 spots.
That's huge. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
All these freaking idiot Tolos out there not picking. They don't realize.
Yeah.
And Dan, what's crazy, by the way, Arizona State just scored. This is a really good game between Duke and Arizona State. PAT pending. But you watching this game, Dan?
No, I'm watching Nebraska. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot about that. Score, it just started, right? Oh, no way. No way.
Yeah, they're a 16.5 point underdog, I think.
Nebraska was a 16.5 point dog and they lead?
Yeah, the game just started, but yeah, they're leading.
Wow, that's incredible. Did you take that spread or no?
No.
Wouldn't do it.
Look. That's too much. I didn't, because Nebraska, remember, their quarterback got hurt, so.
Yeah. But hey, that's a big swing there. By the way, Michigan, Texas knotted up at 3. That game's on ABC. Arizona State and Duke now tied at 21. If the kicker made the PAT, I think he did. So 21-21 there. So let me tell you what's funny about this upset picks challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And this just goes to show, like, you got to stay with it all year long, Tolos, because Dan, I honestly, and you've heard me say that, I feel like I suck at this challenge. I do. I feel like I suck at it. But when it's all said and done, if I finish 30, what'd you say, 30 what?
7.
That's not bad.
37.
That's not bad.
No.
That's not bad.
No.
I mean, I didn't win the whole thing, but, sometimes, hey, I'll take it. And I felt like I was so bad at this thing.
I'm going to end up around right at 28,
What?
maybe 27. And that's, I didn't do that much, obviously that much better than you did. So I missed on both of my bowl picks. And what's funny is Buckeye Mike, he went from not on the board to on the board the last 2 weeks.
See, that's incredible. That's awesome because he stayed with it. Stayed with it.
And so who else has the Nebraska game? It's I think it's Benny. It's just Jess, Dewey.
No.
And USC Justin, who's in second, but he can't catch the leader. So. And
Dewey, he informed me on the stream that he's going to finish ahead of me.
Yes, he already will.
Wow, that's really deflating. So just Jess took Nebraska.
Yeah,
and they lead 7-0. 11 minutes to go in the first. Like you said, it just started, but still, I don't know. Utah. I mean, a little bit different coaching staff now, right? Maybe I don't know.
Well, and who knows who opted out? All that. Yeah. I mean, that's where it becomes an absolute, blank show with regard to these bowl games. Spreads,
you're right, because I love using prize picks and getting in on these games. But while we don't, that's one good point. That's one thing that we hadn't talked enough about. While we as college football fans think bowl games are dying, and I think they are, I think you're right on that. That's a good point. They are as unpredictable as I think they've ever been.
Yeah,
because of the opt-outs, like you said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Shane Barrett, the dump button, he said a bleep show. Can't say that. Dan, thanks for the call. Good luck to you. And one more time, what was your upset pick in the post-Christmas bowl?
I was UConn.
And they didn't win, right?
They did not.
All right. Who you like tonight, by the way? Miami, Ohio State. Who do you like?
Ohio State. I just don't think Miami has enough.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Might be a good game. They just don't have enough.
Yeah, that's where I am too. Well, Happy New Year, man. Appreciate you.
You too.
844-326-6663. That is the Joy Law Firm text line. Phone lines are open all show because it's the final show of 2025. We're just having fun today, man. Getting sports, some updates, having some good conversations. If you're listening, I'm talking to you, driving through Spartanburg or Greenville right now. Would love to hear from you at 844-326-3663. Kenny's mad right now on the sideline about something. I don't know what it is. By the way, this Arizona State-Duke game might be the most underrated backdrop for this bowl game in the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. If you're watching, I mean, it's right in the mountains. Kenny Dillingham is furious about something, but this game, this location, I don't know exactly where it is. Maybe is it Vegas? I don't know. I should know. But by the way, just the prettiest backdrop you'll ever see for this one. It's 21-21 right now between Arizona State and Duke. Wish I would have had the over in this one. And then a couple of other updates for you before we run to a break. Michigan did score. Michigan now leads Texas 9-3. Nebraska, as we just talked about, leads Utah 7-0. Iowa did defeat Vandy 34-27 in the ReliaQuest Bowl. And then that's all. That's all the games. We'll have the updates for you. Then the only other game tonight's the college football playoff game. 7:30, Miami, Ohio State, and we'll keep you updated on all of the scores that are happening throughout the course of the show. Daily Wires, man, we got so busy, I skipped the Daily Wires yesterday. I mean, how did that happen? But we're not going to skip them today. Top headlines in sports next. You may call them sports headlines. On this show, we call them daily wires. Last night in college football, La Tech defeated Coastal Carolina 23-14. Illinois defeated Tennessee 30-28. And TCU, man, a good one in overtime, defeated USC Southern Cal 30-27. Right now in college football, some good games happening. Arizona State and Duke are knotted up at 21. Duke has the football. Michigan leads Texas 10-3. Nebraska and Utah are all knotted up at 7. Earlier today, Iowa with the upset picks challenge hitting right there. They defeated Vandy 34-27. And then tonight, Miami, Ohio State, college football playoffs. Matt Kraft, Hurricane Jeff, any other Miami Hurricane fans listening, how nervous are you right now? You nervous? You nervous? How do you feel right now? I'd love to hear from you. In Frisco, Texas, in case you missed it yesterday, the Dallas Cowboys have released two-time Pro Bowl cornerback Trayvon Diggs with one game to play. Diggs, 27, will go through waivers and will be a free agent if he isn't claimed. The Cowboys close the season Sunday at New York. That one's interesting. I don't really know. I know there was an incident with him wanting to stay in Washington, with family for Christmas, and the Cowboys wouldn't allow it. I also know he's been buns all year this year, hadn't been really good. So I don't know the exact reason. I mean, I know they had a lot of money tied up in the guy. It was a bad signing by Jerry Jones, right? Because they tied up a lot of money, and Trayvon Diggs just did not work out. Speaking of Diggs, bad day, bad week for your last name to be Diggs. New England Patriots wide receiver Stephon Diggs facing a felony charge of strangulation and a misdemeanor charge of assault from an alleged incident on December the 2nd. A motion hearing took place on Tuesday morning, and the arraignment is scheduled for January 23rd, which is the Friday before the AFC Championship game. Let's see. NCAA President Charlie Baker on Tuesday clarified his organization's position on college eligibility for players with NBA experience. We talked about this the other day with Coach Cal's audio. The official stance came in the wake of Baylor signing former NBA draft pick and amid reports that current NBA player Trenton Flowers is pursuing college eligibility. Here's the quote. The NCAA has not and will not grant eligibility to any prospective or returning student athletes who have signed an NBA contract, including a two-way contract, Baker said in a statement. He also said, as schools are increasingly recruiting individuals and with international league experience, the NCAA is exercising discretion in applying the actual and necessary expenses by law to ensure that the protective student athletes with experience in American basketball are not at a disadvantage compared to their international counterparts. Rules have long permitted schools to enroll and play individuals with no prior collegiate experience mid-year. Yeah, that's something that's got to be figured out. There's no doubt. That's got to be figured out. Tonight, I mentioned it, college football playoff, Miami, Ohio State, 7:30 kick, 9.5-point spread right now in favor of the Buckeyes. Northwestern, in case you missed it, has hired veteran coach Chip Kelly as the school's next offensive coordinator. Kelly, two-time college head coach, Oregon and UCLA, two-time NFL head coach with the Eagles and the 49ers, brings expertise, varying systems, varying personnel. So that's an interesting hire at Northwestern. Alabama wide receiver Ryan Williams intends to return to the team in 2026 despite a bumpy sophomore season. Williams told AL.com on Tuesday that he's Alabama through and through, adding that he has no intentions of being anywhere else. After earning first-team All-SEC honors and freshman All-American honors in 2024, when he surged onto the scene as a 17-year-old for Alabama, Williams has had fewer catches, yards, and half as many touchdowns, only 4 this season. That was very surprising. Boston College set to hire veteran defensive coordinator Ted Roof. In Indianapolis, Phillip Rivers' second act has come to an end. It should have never happened in the first place. I don't know why they even experimented down that road to begin with. Indianapolis Colts are turning to rookie Riley Leonard as their starting quarterback for Sunday's season finale at Houston. Duke took the lead over Arizona State, now leads 28-21. And, man, all that has been in the first half. It's not even halftime yet. Last one for you. The San Francisco 49ers began preparation for Saturday's showdown against the Seattle Seahawks with two of their best players, left tackle Trent Williams and running back Christian McCaffrey, sitting out of practice yesterday. So that'll be interesting to watch to see if they have those two. Pretty good, pretty big pieces. All right, one final time in 2025, Smitty of Sports Talk Media Network joins the show. Next segment, if you have a question for Smitty, get it in on the Joy Law Firm text line. Smitty of Sports Talk Media Network, next. Well, it makes me sad, but it also makes me glad because Matt Smith of Sports Talk Media Network, one of my favorite people on planet Earth, and it makes me sad that this is the last time I'll talk to Smitty in 2025, but I'm glad because I know Smitty, as gracious as he is, will join us in 2026. So much to get to, Smitty, as always, very much appreciative of your time on this New Year's Eve. First of all, Happy New Year to you and yours. Do you have big plans tonight?
I don't. I have no plans. I'm of that age. I'm in bed. I'm in bed before midnight.
It's okay. That's good.
It's more like used to be. I was out trying to find a different girl to kiss every year on New Year's, trying something different to drink, bringing it in, and now it's like 8:30. I got the sleepy time tea. I have a book in front of me. It's changed. I'm a little bit ashamed, but it's just you and me talking. So
nobody else is listening. That's right.
Yeah, I don't ring it in anymore, man. I sleep right through it.
Absolutely. Matt Smith, Smitty of Sports Talk Media Network. Man, a lot to get to. Let's start with the biggest news this week. It was Monday evening around 6:05 when it broke that Garrett Riley had been let go, as well as Mickey Kahn, the safeties coach at Clemson. What was your immediate reaction to that? We'll get into here in a few minutes in terms of the replacement at OC, but what was your immediate reaction?
That you were right. That I said, oh, God, I'm never going to hear the end of this, because you called. We had been talking all season, and you said, I'm telling you, both these coordinators, meaning South Carolina and Clemson, you said both these offensive coordinators are gone. These offenses are trash bags. There is nothing here. The fans hate these guys. There's huge problems. It's not a good fit. They're both gone. And, I said that so I was wrong. You were right. But in my defense, I thought Garrett Riley could save his job if they beat South Carolina and won a bowl game. And they only did one of the two, and the offense didn't look good in the bowl game. And just a quick aside there, who thought Cade Klubnik's career would end this way, would go this way? 2 years ago, I never would have dreamed that Cade Klubnik would lead an offense that was this inept. He would regress to this level. And 2 years ago, the talk was, will he rise? Will he ascend to the level of a Trevor Lawrence or of a Deshaun Watson? Instead, if you're ranking Cade Klubnik, he's now, as Dabo Swinney quarterbacks, he's well below, in my opinion,
Taj Boyd.
Taj Boyd.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point, it wasn't a discussion. He was going to lap Taj Boyd in terms of accomplishments, team victories, and all those things. And now you look back on it and you're like, no, Klubnik doesn't even reach Taj Boyd, and he's just kind of barely above DJ Uiagalelei. So I can't believe it went that way, but you called it, man. You said this is not a good fit, and he'll be fired, and he was.
I don't know if I called it other than I'm, an emotional fan, right? And maybe that was I'll take the credit, though. I appreciate that. You brought up the bowl game. It was really bad watching that game. Obviously, both teams had a lot of opt-outs, but we're to the point now where you want coaches, Smitty, you want coordinators to be able to squeeze the oranges and lemons and get the most out of what they have on the field. Do you think that'll be one of the top issues when fans look back with Garrett Riley? I mean, you take Saturday, for example. No, he did not have a full cast of characters, but he had a starting quarterback. He had a starting running back. Do you think that'll be what Garrett Riley's remembered for, just not being able to get the most out of his guys?
Yeah, I think he'll be remembered as someone, really, he'll be tied to Cade Klubnik.
Yeah.
Diesel brought this up last week in our discussion. Isn't it interesting that Garrett Riley only had Cade Klubnik as his quarterback? That those two just were tied at the hip in terms of, Cade Klubnik's now leaving Clemson, Garrett Riley's leaving Clemson. So when we go back, if you watch these games on ESPN Classic, pull them up on YouTube later, things, good or bad that Cade Klubnik accomplished, a lot of it will be with Garrett Riley. And then the camera will slide to Garrett Riley in the booth, and you'll see him there. And we'll all remember, oh yeah, that really bad season in Garrett Riley's and Cade Klubnik's senior year. Garrett Riley was his offensive coordinator, and they were together for those 3 years. It's just that's what we'll remember. And yeah, you said not getting enough out of it. You know, Garrett Riley came in and said it was going to be the dirt raid offense because at the time Clemson had 2 talented running backs in Shipley and Maffa, and they were going to run the football. And Garrett Riley was just not cut out to do that. In my opinion, they never really worked the run game this year, and they got away from it even when it was picking up yards per carry. They never established the run game the entire season. And I mean, to me, that's what I'll remember them for, is they did a lot of talking in the offseason about what kind of team they were going to be. And then what was actually on the field, the product on Saturdays, looked nothing like what they said it was going to look like.
And, you know, you're right. I talked about that a little bit yesterday on the show, Smitty. Look, the reality is Garrett Riley, you know, in part is to blame for his inability to take Clemson's offense to the next level. But at the same time, like, how do you have the conversation of what you just brought up, which I agree with you, by the way, the run game or lack of running game? Like, there was no commitment to the run game. But then if I was playing devil's advocate, Smitty, I could say, well, wait a minute. Would Kirby Smart be having to move a running back from receiver, you know, to running back to run the football? I mean, and to your point, you brought it up with Cade Klubnik's his only guy. So even though Garrett Riley is to blame, do you think it's fair for a lot of Clemson fans to think, well, maybe there's just, and I made a video about it yesterday, maybe there's more issues than just the offensive coordinator right now?
Well, there is. You just said it about Adam Randall shifting from wide receiver to running back. I have no problem with them doing that. Here's the problem I have. Why wasn't somebody pushing him?
Yeah.
Where is all the – look, Gideon Davidson. That's a big name recruit. You can't – what we have a bad habit of doing, and I mean anybody that covers Clemson, is when a player like Gideon Davidson is recruited, and everybody sees where he is and how he's evaluated, and he's being recruited to Clemson, everyone says, Gideon Davidson, can you believe it? Can you believe they landed him? He's going to be the star. Then in a year and a half, everybody's going, just Gideon Davidson. I mean, I don't know. You don't have to get him carries. It can't happen that fast. There has to be better development. And when Clemson goes out and recruits players like Antonio Williams, like Adam Randall, like Cade Klubnik, who, by the way, was very highly recruited, Elite 11 quarterback, like Gideon Davidson, like Peter Woods defensively, all these guys, they have to play up to that reputation.
Can I pause you for a second? Do you mind if I interrupt?
Go for it.
I'm with you, but at the same time, and I've talked about this before, I wanted to pause you because I didn't want to forget about this. I think you're right. I think you have to understand and evaluate the recruiting rankings and all that. But, and again, I hadn't been in a lot of other markets collegiately. Smitty, is it as simple as maybe the Clemson media just is too high on their own you-know-what sometimes? And I mean, come on, let's just call it like it is for a minute.
Look, of course, there are pockets of this. Clemson is not alone in this.
Yeah.
But Clemson is, because Clemson has national championships in the last decade, there is no question what you say is true. That there is usually, if Clemson's winning, here's what sometimes you'll see. You and I will watch the same game. We will watch Clemson struggle against a team with nowhere near the same level of talent in ACC play. And we will come out of that and have this conversation on your show and say, this Clemson team has to get it together. They didn't look great. They didn't blow out an insert mediocre ACC team here. They didn't look great against Pitt, or they didn't look great against Louisville, whatever it might be. They've got to do better. They should have pushed Wake Forest around, and they didn't do it, in the last few years, whatever game it is. And then you'll see it, and the pushback from, as you say, people that cover Clemson on a daily basis is always, they worked their magic. Didn't have their best stuff, but they still got to win. That's what you see out of Dabo Swinney and this staff. You absolutely see that. You definitely see it in the recruiting as well, that it's all going to work out. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. That these guys are highly recruited and this staff will develop. Well, now that's over now. That always worked when Clemson was ACC champions. That always worked when Clemson had 10 wins. Now there is stink on the program. It is real. now they have to own it. Now I'm telling you, the people that actually cover the team have to look in the mirror too and say, maybe we were too high on these guys. And that's absolutely true. And maybe I overrated Clemson a little bit. I bought into a lot of this. I always remind myself, and I think I say it on this program in this slot a lot. And here's why. I say this a lot. Cade Klubnik was highly recruited.
Yeah.
There's something going on in the lack of development in the program. You can't have all these guys that are highly recruited and they go out and they win 7 games and do what they've done the last 2. They made the college football playoff last year, and anybody that thinks there wasn't something wrong with that team last year wasn't paying attention.
Sure.
They backed into the college football playoff last year, beating an SMU team, by the way, that is a middling recruiting team. So you are absolutely right that this didn't get revealed fully until they started to lose some games. But this has been trending in this direction for years. And finally, people that cover the team have to look in the mirror and admit it.
Yeah, and I think people who also cover the team have to also evaluate themselves and say, talking about media, radio, print media, everything, and say, hey, are we being – look, there's nothing wrong with being fans. Nothing wrong with it. Fans, look, fans love fans. We love it. That's why we love it. But I think the media also – has to evaluate themselves and say, hey, do I care more about being honest and trying to do a little bit more homework and study and dig and make sure that I really know really know these players, or I'm just going to take the easy road and be a fan, get everybody hyped up because, it just becomes kind of old. It does. And again, I don't mean to throw shots at the other station here in town all segment, but it just becomes like, your credibility's there. That's fine. Wonderful. But the fanboy stuff just becomes very old, especially when you said it, Smitty, the program does have a little bit of stink on them.
I think so. And yes, and when I say, but look, I want to be clear about this. Clemson is not alone in this. This used to go on at Penn State and probably still does up there. When I've traveled up there, I've seen it. I've seen it also at Notre Dame, where to me, this is some things go into the X.com, Twitter, the artist formerly known as Twitter, the X.com Hall of Fame. This is one of them. A Notre Dame fan tweeted out during the Texas A&M Miami game, like with an eye roll emoji, watching a college football playoff game, and we would have beaten either one of these teams. And someone had to point out, they both beat Notre Dame this year.
Right.
Texas A&M and Miami played Notre Dame and beat you. But that is the attitude, and it permeates the fan base. And I agree with you. And I'm not taking shots at anybody because I have so many good friends in the Clemson media, but I would completely agree. Here's when Clemson doesn't lose. Clemson plays poorly but doesn't lose. But the fact that it's not often confronted that sometimes their schedule allows them to go out. There's 2 different kinds of Clemson seasons. Sometimes they're 10-3 and they're great, and sometimes they're 10-3 and they're just mediocre. And if the Clemson people, I want to be careful. Some of the reporters that cover them on a daily basis have not done their fans a service by noting the difference between those 2 10-3 records.
Yeah,
and sometimes Clemson gets away with beating a bunch of mediocre teams and building their record up, and they're just not that good. And that was the Clemson team last year. I know they made a comeback in the fourth quarter, but I was there in Austin, Texas. There was a mile of difference between the level of talent on Texas's sideline versus Clemson's sideline. And the fact that wasn't addressed properly coming into this season, that's a failing on Clemson's part. And you're absolutely right. I don't think it was talked about enough in the preseason. We should have seen this coming, in other words.
Yeah, I'm with you. Matt Smith, Smitty, Sports Talk Media Network. Let's get to the next OC. By the way, real quick, this is too good not to talk about. Yesterday, Will Vandervoort of the Clemson Insider on this show, on these airwaves, said that this next OC hire would be Dabo Swinney's final OC hire at Clemson.
Ooh.
Your reaction?
That's what I said about Shane Beamer and his next OC hire. I don't know. By the way, I like Will.
Me too.
I know what he's getting at. What he's getting at is that I think Clemson fans are probably tired of seeing this kind of it's not a revolving door, but just you can't just say, hey, Wes Goodwin's the problem, and then fire Wes Goodwin, and you get Tom Allen, and the defense looks the same.
Yeah.
Then you say, well, now wait a minute, is this a Wes Goodwin problem? Is this a Tom Allen problem, or is this a Dabo Swinney problem? And now we're saying the same thing about the offense. Was it a Brandon Streeter problem? Is it a Garrett Riley problem? Or is it a Dabo Swinney problem? And that's what Will is getting at, is that does this program need a new captain at the top making these decisions? And I don't know. I hear what Will's saying. I just feel like the reality of actually Clemson and Dabo Swinney parting ways, that just feels like a movie. Like it's not real. Like it's fantasy. Like he's always going to be there if he wants to be there. I just feel that way. But I hear what he's saying. And what I'll say this, I agree with his underlying point, which is if Dabo Swinney's next hire is not a great one at offensive coordinator, everyone's attention will not be to blame the offensive coordinator. It will be to blame Dabo Swinney, because he can't just hire Wes Goodwin, Tom Allen, Garrett Riley, and then this next offensive coordinator. And if it doesn't fix the problem, you stop blaming the people that are hired and start blaming the people that are doing the hiring.
All right, so I'm going to throw two names out there, and there are other names obviously circulating, but which could you see happen? Which is more likely in your mind, Smitty? Chad Morris coming back to Clemson, or Todd Monken saying, you know what, Derrick Henry, nah. Lamar Jackson, meh, I'm going to go back to college. I'm going to go to Clemson, South Carolina. Which is more likely in your mind?
Well, the Chad Morris thing seemed crazy. This is actually something Phil Kornbluth brought up during the middle of the season. And that seemed crazy because, it's a reconnection and going, it's a retread, going back to someone who had coached there, been Dabo Swinney's offensive coordinator previously. I don't know what the draw is for Todd Monken. I don't know what that is precisely. To me, Todd Monken feels like an NFL guy.
Yeah.
Just when I hear, there's certain people like Schottenheimers, there's certain names that feel like are NFL guys, and Todd Monken feels like he's one of them to me, like Shanahan, like Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
I just feel like he's always going to be an NFL guy. The Chad Morris fact, that is interesting to me, because Chad Morris, I don't know. I'll say this about him. By the way, I like Chad Morris. I liked him the first time he was at Clemson. I do respect him, and I do like him, even though it hasn't worked out as a head coach for him in 2 stops at Arkansas and SMU. I do like him. But if I can dig into the weeds very quickly, I'll say this about him. One thing that concerns me, if Chad Morris were to return to Clemson, is this. I feel like he was one of those guys like Chip Kelly and Gus Malzahn that came out and were running up-tempo offense at a time that defenses were not ready for it.
Yeah.
That Kelly in Oregon and Malzahn at Auburn and Chad Morris at Clemson, they were taking advantage at that point over defensive coordinators being flat-footed and playing catch-up. Have you seen Chip Kelly have a lot of success recently? Mm-hmm. Have you seen Gus Malzahn have a lot of success recently? The answer is no. And Chad Morris, it looks like teams may have caught up with him as well. That's my concern, is if you now turn the page. So page 1 is tempo. That's what you want to do. We're about tempo. We're all about tempo. That's what we're going to install. Okay, now I turn the page. Once the defense is ready for your tempo, what's page 2? And at that point, and I want to say it again, I like Chad Morris. I respect Chad Morris. But page 2, what changes? How are you a different play caller? How are you a better play caller than Garrett Riley or anybody else after the defense is ready for tempo? And there may be an answer to that. There may be a page 2. We didn't see it at Arkansas. We didn't see it at SMU. But I have concerns about that Kelly, Malzahn, and Chad Morris really benefited from the up-tempo renaissance that took place earlier this decade, and I think defenses have caught up.
So with that being said, Smitty, what do you think the best fit is? I mean, obviously you and I, we're going off of reports that everybody else is going off of here, but for Dabo Swinney, knowing this program like you and I do, covering it, seeing what they need, and we've talked about it, there's other issues outside of who the next offensive coordinator is going to be, but what do you think the best fit? When you talk about needing a guy, kind of like that Shane Beamer conversation, you need a good hire. I think Beamer made that good hire with Kendall Briles. Who's that good hire in your mind that would sell the fan base?
Oh, well, I don't know about selling the fan base, because I feel like this is a fan base now that's going to have their arms crossed and play wait and see.
Yeah.
But I'll say this, what you're talking about, if you look back at the history of Dabo Swinney at Clemson and the success he's had, it's always been someone in my mind where they have been of a like mind. whether it's Ben Scott or Elliott, Venables defensively, whatever it is, they have agreed. What the issue with a guy like Garrett Riley that I always thought was going to be an issue with Coach Sweeney was, I think Coach Sweeney is looking at the ball game, is watching the game from the sideline, and he's thinking, just knowing Coach Sweeney's history, he's thinking one thing, and Garrett Riley was thinking something else. So to me, it made it really easy for them eventually to part ways because I didn't think they were aligned. You know, there's certain things that need to be aligned. And I think Tony Elliott was absolutely aligned with Coach Sweeney. It's almost like they were of the same mind because Coach Elliott grew up under Coach Sweeney. And so they had all these meetings. They knew each other so well. So he probably could tell Dabo what he wanted to run in a certain situation, or whether he wanted to go for 2 or they're going to go for 4th down at midfield. They were probably on the headset with each other in total agreement all the time because they just thought the same way about football. I think that's what's so important. Dabo Sweeney needs somebody who buys into football exactly the way that he does, that is just in lockstep with him. And Chad Morris if you rehired Chad Morris, they would know exactly what they were getting into. There would be no surprises. It's like, getting back with an old girlfriend. You're going to have the same problems. Those aren't going to change. But you also know it's the devil you know. And here's another thing about Chad I'll say quickly that could be a positive for Clemson. He was like a head coach of the offense. Chad Morris has a head coach mindset, a head coach attitude, just like Brent Venables did defensively, just like Mickey Andrews did for years for Bobby Bowden at Florida State. That you just give Chad Morris the keys to the offense and you let him go. That could be a good thing for Dabo Sweeney because, frankly, here's what Dabo Sweeney needs to get back to. They've got to recruit.
Yep.
They need some big-time ballers. Everybody always they talk about Rick Pitino. So, well, Larry Bird's not walking through that door. Robert Parrish isn't walking through that door. Okay, Clemson needs C.J. Spiller to walk through that door. They need a Trevor Lawrence type to walk through that door. Somebody the fans can rally around and get excited about. Clemson needs to return to that top-notch recruiting. I'm not talking about 12th, 15th in the country. I'm talking about studs, game-changing, you can count on this guy type players. Like the other team has to – I hate to be this way. Nobody really was having a game plan around Cade Klubnik and Antonio Williams and Adam Randall. Like they weren't. They're just regular guys. So that needs to get better at Clemson. That's what Dabo Sweeney needs to turn his focus to.
All right, Smitty, before we let you run, let's do a little rapid fire here. I gave my score predictions at the very beginning of the show, first segment. I'm going to give you my score predictions for these first 4 games, or for these 4 games this weekend, tonight and tomorrow, and the CFP. You react and tell me where I'm right or I'm wrong, if you agree or disagree. Starting tonight, Miami, Ohio State. I like Miami a lot, especially what they do defensively. Line of scrimmage matters. But in summary, bringing it to a short summary here, I like Ohio State because I think they have more game breakers on the outside. I'm going Ohio State 17, Miami 10. Hurricanes cover the spread, but Ohio State wins. Right or wrong on that?
I think you're right. I'm very close to that. I think some of the smarter bettors, the sharp bettors in Vegas have been on Miami like +10, and that line starting to tighten up a little bit. I agree with you. Miami has players on defense, but let's not forget about that. Miami scored just 1 touchdown in their win over Texas A&M. That's not, and you've got them doing the same thing. That's just not enough against Ohio State and Jeremiah Smith. I think you're right on. I might even give each team like another field goal.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think it's a tight game, but Ohio State's got more playmakers, period.
Have you seen what Miami's team total in terms of points is set at tonight?
Oh, no, what is
16.
it? 16.
I'd go under.
Yeah, they struggle. They're going to struggle to score. Ohio State, it's forgotten a little bit because Ohio State's big names are on the offensive side, but their best unit is defensive.
No doubt. Yeah. All right, Oregon, Texas Tech. I think the opposite here. I think you're looking at a shootout. I'm going Ducks 35-31. Pulling for Texas Tech because I have a friend that's on the staff down there. But Oregon, I like Dante Moore a lot. Smitty, how do you see this one going?
Yeah, I agree with you again. I'd say I'd echo that thought exactly. I like Dante Moore. I think there's points in this one. I like that Texas Tech is involved. It's nouveau riche. It's a new name. But I think Oregon got forgotten a little bit. They lost that game. I guess it was to Indiana or Ohio State midseason, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Whichever they lost a game to knock them out. Once they got knocked out of the Big Ten race, nobody looked at them again. ESPN didn't mention them again. But that's a top 5 team. So I agree with you. I've got them by like 1 score over a talented Texas Tech team.
Smitty, do you remember Rob Green? He went to Wofford or coached at Wofford, went to Tulane, Spartanburg kind of guy. And he's now the safeties coach at Texas Tech. Do you know that?
No, I did not know that. But I do remember him. Absolutely.
Yeah. So a little local tie there. All right, Alabama, Indiana. I'll let you go first on this one. I literally could not pick. I went back and forth on this one. Who do you like, Alabama, Indiana?
You know, it's so hard for me to do this. Can Alabama play with Indiana? Can they keep up with Indiana? It's hard. I can't believe that's the statement. My issue with Alabama is the same thing it's been all season. They always have to play left-handed because they can't run the football or won't run the football. One of the two. I don't know whether it is they can't or they won't, but Kalen DeVore flatly refuses to run the football twice in a row.
Right.
And Indiana is too good. Kurt Cignetti's too good. Fernando Mendoza's too good for that. I think the line is right on. It's going to be a good game. Alabama is uber talented. They've got playmakers everywhere, but Indiana knows that Alabama is going to throw the football, and that means they get to pin their ears back. So I've got Indiana by a score, I don't know, like 28-21, something like that.
Or step for step in unison. I like Indiana as well. And then Ole Miss, Georgia, the last one. I went Georgia 28-17 over Ole Miss. And look, I don't know if this theory holds any weight or water whatsoever. I just don't think there's enough people talking about Georgia right now, and that scares me. I think the last coach you want to kind of count out is Kirby. So give me Georgia in this one.
Yes, I agree. I completely agree. Again, I can't believe I want to disagree.
Nope.
We want to have some friction, but I'm right there with you. I think this Georgia team was one that was absolutely lost early in the season. But Kirby Smart is like the new Nick Saban.
Yeah.
He keeps it together. It's kind of like betting against Tom Izzo in March, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you beat Michigan State in basketball in December. That doesn't matter. He's always a tough out later in the year. I think it finally catches up with Ole Miss. All the drama around Lane Kiffin, the coaches coming in, the coaches going out, guys talking about the transfer portal. It didn't hurt them against Tulane, but this is a different animal. This is Georgia in January. Yeah. I think that's the wrong time to play Kirby Smart. I agree with you. I think the Bulldogs actually roll it up on Ole Miss this time.
Smitty, as we let you go, this is the next thing I'm going to talk about. I want to get your quick take on it. I know I've got you long, but I want to hear your take on this. Best sports moment of 2025. Can you, and I'm not a golf guy, but can you possibly find a better sports moment than what happened in Augusta with Rory?
Oh, that was good.
Yeah.
That was strong. What are the other candidates?
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you've got a few good candidates. You've got Ohio State winning the national championship. You've got the Philadelphia Eagles beating the snot, out of the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, a great Super Bowl.
No, it wasn't a great. Shohei Ohtani, the Dodgers. Your Dodgers were a great story, and then the Thunder, like for the NBA guys out there, like the Thunder were a cool story. But I just don't know. I think Rory, that's number one for me.
You know what? And of course Augusta, which is important. We sit here in South Carolina, and Augusta, just over the border, just a softball throw over the border. I mean, it's so close to us. It feels like it's ours. So that's the grandest stage for me and for you and other people that are from the Southeast and love the game of golf. So I agree with you. But yes, selfishly, the Dodgers, like you go back through that run, some of what Shohei did and some of the drama. See, the problem is now the Dodgers are like the evil empire.
That's right. Yeah.
And they, because they have those big names, but Freddie Freeman hitting a home run in the 18th inning and all those things.
It's special,
man. The drama of the World Series was special. I agree with you about Roy. I'm trying to think, was there not a great college moment? How about arresting Sharon Moore? How about Sharon Moore being arrested, finally getting out of our lives? Michigan being a complete grease fire. That's the negative story. That's the opposite of Rory. Michigan being an absolute grease fire for 5 years.
Well, Smitty, I'm going to close the show at 6:45 with my final words of 2025, but I do want to tell you, I know I tell you this a lot, and I mean it. Number one, appreciate you for what you've done for me in the radio business, going back many, many years, but also appreciate you and your friendship and coming on with us during football season every Friday. It means a lot. You're the best, and I hope you and your family has a fantastic 2026. Love you, man.
I love you back, and let me tell you, I always say this. I don't want to forget who I'm speaking to, because you've got an audience in the upstate that is so important to me. As I sit here on the coast, and so much of my life, it's taken me all over the country covering college football, college basketball, college baseball, and I'm everywhere. My heart resides there in the upstate of South Carolina. I never want to forget. I never want to lose this segment, because that audience is so important to me. It's the place I would want to be if I'm doing a sports show. So I'm glad you're in that seat.
Well, you're the man. Appreciate you, and we will talk to you next year, Smitty. You're the best. Smitty,
Absolutely.
Sports Talk Media Network. Happy New Year, man. Appreciate you. As always, he's the best. Happy New Year. We'll talk to him in 2026 again. So much fun during football season with Smitty of Sports Talk Media Network. Quick update, and then your answers, Tolos, on the best sports moment. I mean, Smitty's right. You throw the crazy sports moment that just happened a couple of weeks ago with Sharon Moore. Maybe that tops any other candidate out there. But I don't know. What do you think? Best sports moment of the year next. All right, Tolos, it's your opportunity to now answer the question that I asked Smitty of Sports Talk Media Network about the best sports moment of the year. You know, this is a sports show, FYI, in case you didn't know. So, want to hear from you. Joy Law Firm, text line open, 844-326-3663. What was the best sports moment of the year in your mind? For me, Rory McIlroy, winning the way in which he won. It's not just because Rory won in Augusta, but the way that he won that tournament. I don't think you can even say there's a close second. Now, to Smitty's point, the Dodgers story was awesome because what they did was just exceptional. Freddie Freeman was fantastic. The 18-inning game that he talked about and the drama. There was a lot of drama. It was a good World Series, good baseball, good playoffs. I just don't know if any of that tops what Rory did in Augusta. The way in which he did it was special. What say you? 844-326-3663. Also, for those 112 Tolos watching the show on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, what was the best sports moment of the year in your mind? Want an answer? Need an answer? Want to hear from you right now at 844-FAN-PHONE. All right, let's give you a little bowl update for those driving around the upstate, maybe not glued to the television set. Duke leads Arizona State 28-24. Michigan, Texas tied at 17. I've got to get that game on in the second half here in the studios, in the Ingles Market studios, because that's a good one. Utah, Nebraska knotted up at 14. Earlier today, Iowa defeated Vanderbilt 34-27, and then tonight, 7:30, Miami, Ohio State college football playoff quarterfinal. Quarterfinal. Say it slow. Quarterfinal at the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. This is interesting. There's been some pretty significant line movement in the last hour, and this is a lot of movement. 2 points in the last hour or so. That just tells you a lot of money coming in tonight on this game. It was a 9.5-point spread when the show started in favor of Ohio State. The line has now dropped to 7.5. Ohio State now is favored over Miami by 7.5 points. Again, this was a 9.5-point spread just hours ago. So we're talking about a 2-point movement. 2 points movement. It's a lot. That's a lot of line movement. Interesting to see. One texter gets in earlier during that Smitty interview from the 803 and says, if Dabo Swinney hires Chad Morris, it's just because he wants to be surrounded by family and friends at the end. God, that sounds terrible, doesn't it? That just sounds bad. I mean, it sounds like he's on death row, wanting to have his family and friends around. My gosh, that's awful. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't think it's the end yet, but it's interesting text. Appreciate that text, 803. Dewey says Clemson getting bounced in the first round of the NCAA. What are you talking about, Dewey? Oh, your favorite sports memory? Is that right from this year? I don't know. What first round of the NCAA? What are you talking about? Give me some context here, Dewey. We need some context. Really important to have context. All right, setting you up for the 5 o'clock segment in the next segment. You'll understand in just a few minutes. All right, Duke leads Arizona State 28-24. We do have the big one tonight, the college football playoff game between Miami and Ohio State, Michigan, Texas. It just went to the halftime break. That one's a really good game, 17-17. And Utah leading Nebraska 17-14 with 2 minutes to go in the first half. Hey, Dan B., your Nebraska Cornhuskers, they're hanging around, man. I think you said they were, 16.5-point favorites, or I'm sorry, 16.5-point dogs, right? You never know. You never know. Like you said, these bowl games, the opt-outs, you just don't know. We'll see. We'll keep you updated on that. But Tolos, in the very next segment, it is the final Tolo takeover of the year. I know it's Wednesday. Normally, the Tolo takeover is on Thursday, but there is no show tomorrow. There is no show Friday either. This is the final show of the year. Final show of the week. So moving the Tolo takeover to the 5 o'clock segment. And I love the Tolo takeover. When I am out and about, people always say, hearing the callers, hearing the crazy callers, and you don't have to be a crazy caller. You can be a normal caller too, but we love the interaction. And the Tolo takeover, when you Tolos bring it, is my favorite part of the week, my favorite part of the show. So I say all of that to say the Tolo takeover is in the very next segment. If you are new to the show, which I know a lot of new people move to the upstate every single day, every single week, Tolo stands for turn on, leave on. That's what we ask you to do each and every day on these very airwaves. Turn it on, leave it on. If you do, you're a Tolo. Then once a week, we give you an opportunity to take over these airwaves. You can rant, you can complain, you can gripe, you can take over, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. It's your segment. I'm going to shut up, and it's your segment. I also have a question for you, Tolos, in the very next segment as well. When you do call in, you can text in, but we would prefer to have you call the show, right? My question is, when you call, you can rant about whatever you want, but I want to know, I want you to give me your team when you call. This is like just an extra caveat here. You give me your team, your favorite sports team, college or pro. When you do that, I'm going to rapid fire, off the cuff, give you what the 2026 New Year's resolution should be for your team. I'll do my teams as well, but I want to do it with your team. You give me your team, I'll tell you what their New Year's resolution should be. No cheating, no research, just off the top of my head what I think that team needs to do in 2026. So that's coming up in the very next segment. Also, want to let you know we have Bill Bender of These Sporting News coming up at 5:22. The final time we'll talk to Bill Bender this year as well, because it is the last day of the year. So my college football playoff bracket coming up 5:45. I gave my picks earlier in the show, but how my entire bracket looks, I'll tell you at 5:45. I'll also tell you who I have winning the whole thing. If you listen to the first segment, I think you might have a sneaky suspicion of who I'm taking to win it all. By the way, Diesel took Ohio State to win it all. That was Diesel's preseason national championship pick. He picked the Buckeyes. I picked them last year. I just didn't think they'd go back-to-back this year. So we'll see. And then the 6 o'clock hour, we've got Ramon Robinson, one of my favorite people in the world of RR Elite Quarterback Academy. It's been way, way, way too long since we've talked to Ramon, so we'll talk to him at 6, and we have a lot more to get to as well. By the way, April Mosley on the YouTube stream, she's a big Tolo, and we love April. She says, Happy New Year, Cole. Happy New Year to all of the Tolos as well. Happy New Year to you, April. Appreciate you. And Dewey says he has his bottle rockets ready. I don't know if that's legal, Dewey. It definitely doesn't sound safe for you to have fireworks and bottle rockets at your disposal. So if you are shooting fireworks tonight, maybe you let me know. I love fireworks. I'd love to see a good fireworks show tonight. Tolos, by the way, what are you doing for New Year's? I mean, I have not gotten one single invitation from you Tolos yet for me to be invited to your New Year's party. I'm very Dewey, I don't want to invite to yours. I do not want to. I'm very disappointed in that. Very disappointed. What are you doing for New Year's tonight? Whatever you do, just stay safe. Don't drink and drive. I saw a post on Facebook earlier today, and I liked it a lot. You know, a DUI is really expensive. A a funeral is even more expensive, and Uber is like $20. So whatever you do tonight, whatever you going out, staying it, whatever, just don't drink and drive. Make sure you call an Uber and be safe tonight. It's going to be wild, a lot of crazy people, and you don't want to be, I want to talk to you Tolos next year. How about that? All right, Tolo Takeover, your opportunity. I'm going to shut up. The phone lines are wide open. The Tolo Takeover's next, 844-326-3663. Well, one last time, one final time for 2025 Tolos, you get an opportunity to make your voice heard. It's the Tolo Takeover one final time in 2025, 844-326-3663. And when you do call in, you can rant or rave or cheer or moan or complain about whatever you want to complain about or whatever you want to talk about. But I do have a question for you. If you just got off work, heading home, just got in the car listening, I do want to know. I want to know, number one, who your favorite sports team is. And when you tell me who your favorite sports team is, I'm going to tell you and see if you agree or disagree what your sports team's New Year's resolution should be heading into 2026. So you can call in with whatever you want to talk about. But I'm going to ask you for your favorite team, college or pro. And when I do, I'll tell you what that New Year's resolution should be. 844-326-3663. A lot of phone lines are open right now. A couple of Tolos already getting in. Again, 844-326-3663 is the number. Also, a quick bowl game update for you. Duke leads Arizona State now 35-24. The Blue Devils starting to pull away. Michigan, Texas tied up at halftime 17-17. Utah looks to be pulling away from Nebraska 24-14. Not even halftime yet there. Iowa took down Vandy 34-27. Those are all the bowl games today. And then tonight, college football playoff, Miami, Ohio State. Let's go to Dewey. Dewey starting things off today. That could be good. That could be bad. I don't know. Dewey, it's Tolo Takeover. What's on your mind?
First of all,
what's your
bad
name?
New Year. It's Y2K. So the electricity's going to be cut off and everyone's going to be walking zombies at 12 a.m.
What are you talking about, Dewey?
It's Y2K.
I don't believe in that kind of weird stuff.
Well, I don't either, but it has to be mentioned anyway.
Okay.
I got something I got to say, though.
By the way, real quick, Arizona State, like 90, I don't know if it was 90 yards, maybe 80-yard pass, almost scored, trying to claw their way back in from their own 20, a big pass play all the way down to like the 2-yard line. Sorry, Dewey, go ahead.
Yeah, he should be kicked off the team for dropping that pass.
Yeah, he should be.
But anyways, I was listening, and I missed something yesterday. I should have commented on, but I just didn't. You talked about the snow chances. First of all, Chris Justice is the one spreading those god-awful rumors about snow. It is not going to snow. It's not going to snow tomorrow, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Never. It's going to be 80 degrees. So, Matt Kraft, you need to find another weather person. And whoever else, Chris Justice should be fired and took it off the television. And so he should take his computer away from him and suspend his license.
Dewey hit us with a 6-7.
Yes, that should be outlawed too. But yeah, that's a travesty. That should be outlawed, and every little kid who says it should be sent to the corner and spanked. But anyways, I wanted to get that out because it's not going to snow. It's not going to snow this winter. I promise you.
Yeah.
If it does this winter, I won't call for a week.
Oh.
So it's not going to snow this winter. And secondly, Gamecocks, you get it together in 2026. You suck. All your teams suck. Now the softball team's good and volleyball team's good, but everyone else sucks. And the Atlanta Braves, I'll do a resolution on the Atlanta Braves.
Oh, you want me to give you a New Year's resolution?
Yeah.
All right, bullpen. Bam, bullpen. I would even say not even only bullpen, but pitching. That's my Braves. That's my Braves New Year's resolution. The Braves have got to get back to getting some pitchers. And I'm not saying injuries have been a big part of their inability to succeed, but pitching, to answer your question, that we've got to get better in that department.
Yes, they had got a couple of bullpen guys, so hopefully that helps. I don't know about starting pitching. I think starting pitching is still going to suck. So Walt Rice is going to be 1 year and gone. He's going to be fired too.
Oh, great.
So
sounds good.
Yeah, I got to go play with my bottle rockets now and blow things up.
Wow.
Oh.
Thanks, Dewey. That was something else. Really something else. Good call, I guess. But I'm with you on the weather. 844-326-3663. If you just tuned in, TOLO takeover happening. TOLO's, it's your opportunity to take over these very airwaves. Nasty and TT, they're getting upset picks in on the text line. But I got bad news for you. Upset picks challenge, guys. It's over. It's done. Let's go to the phone lines. T Experience. What's up, man?
Why do I have to always
what's your name?
pinch myself goes off the line? Like, is this really happening? I don't understand.
How do you think I feel? Huh? How do you think? I mean, I don't know. You don't even know what to say. How do you respond to it?
Right. Who wants to follow that up? Man, anyway. Give me my Florida Gators and my Buffalo Bills.
Oh, I like that. Florida Gators and Buffalo Bills. All right, let's go Buffalo first. And you're not gonna like this one. But your New Year's resolution for the Buffalo Bills should be to fire Sean McDermott. Here's why. That was my overreaction on Monday. I love Buffalo. I'm not a Buffalo fan. I love the team, love Josh Allen. I love all the weapons that he's had in his time in Buffalo. I don't love Sean McDermott. I think this will be the experience. If Sean McDermott doesn't win a Super Bowl with this team, it will, and this quarterback, it'll be one of the biggest sports failures ever. Like, what's changing? I know that's like a hot take, and Sean McDermott's a good coach, but something's got to give, man, if they don't win it all this year. Am I wrong there?
It's not a hot take because it's time. It's for the last, I would say, 2 years, he's been overdue. Like you've had opportunities on the line, but that stubbornness of coaching style, that's not going to work, especially with a high caliber offense. You got Joe Brady as an offensive coordinator. You had Brian Daboll before that. So it's not like it's bad play. It's bad decision making and clock management, time management.
Yeah,
has been his biggest Achilles heel for these last few years, and it's not getting any better at all. So it's time. It's time. Put that baby to bed.
Yeah,
let him get his walking papers. He gotta go.
I hate to say it, man, but like good coaches get fired. That's the reality of it. Sorry, it happens. So, all right, Florida. New Year's resolution for Florida. I've been saying this for a few, maybe months, years now. My opinion on Florida. I know you're a big Florida Gators fan. They've had talent over the last few years, but I think Florida, where they've kind of fallen off, and if I would give Florida a New Year's resolution for 2026 as the portal opens on Friday, I think Florida's got to get back to being nasty in the line of scrimmage. You've got to get back to having those dudes up front that can compete with the Georgias of the world in the SEC. And I don't watch Florida every game, but from what I have seen from them, that's what I've noticed. They've got talent. They're just not winning up front on both sides of the ball, right or wrong there.
Right. It's just a commitment. It's like, again, with the portal opening up these last few years, you got a lot of in and out. I get that. But and that's going to happen with today's college football. But the previous years, not so much as a dynasty, but Florida football, again, like you said, it was nasty.
Yeah.
Up front. The offensive line, we always had a pretty decent offensive line every year. A couple of holes here and there. But that defensive line and the linebacker core, man, it was just solid. But, yeah, we got to get to that edge that we used to have, like the Javon Kearse days, back in those days. Yeah, so I definitely agree on that.
Well, T Experience, Happy New Year to you and your family. Appreciate you, man, and we'll talk to you next year.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you. All right, next up, TOLO Takeover, 844-326-3663. Phone lines are open. You, TOLOs, can take over these airwaves right now. Phone lines are open again, 844-FANFONE, FANFONE. Madcraft is up next, and I would hope that Madcraft finally has a score prediction for his Miami and Ohio State game tonight. Do you have a score prediction yet, Madcraft?
I do, Cole. But first off, man, the day's here. It is here.
Are you nervous?
And Well, of course I'm nervous. I think anybody would be rightfully nervous. But I am going to tell you something, Cole.
Tell me.
I smell something in the water.
Oh.
Something.
Little Phil Collins on this Wednesday.
Well, I'm just saying.
Feel it coming in the air tonight?
There is something in the air tonight. I'm just telling you. There's a feeling. Also, hey, do me a favor real quick. Have you checked where that betting line
Yeah,
is
I said
right
a minute
now?
ago it's dropped 2 points.
2 points.
What's up with that? A lot of money coming in on the other side, right?
No, a lot of money. Yeah, a lot of money coming in on Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's huge movement in an hour span.
You know, that's what I'm saying. There might be something in the water, brother. You know, maybe a lot of people are starting to look at that film and saying, "Whoa, wait a minute."
All right,
Miami
so
might be able to play with these people.
No. Look, I think they can play with them. You'll never hear me say I don't think Miami can play with Ohio State. I like Ohio State. I will say this. I don't think Ohio State this year is unbeatable. I thought last year they were, even though Michigan got them and they tripped up. I thought that team in the postseason they were tough. It was my preseason pick. They won it all. I think they can win it all again this year. I just don't think they're unbeatable. I think there are other teams out there that can beat them. I think Miami can beat them. But I'll say this. Carson Beck's got to have a good game tonight, man. Carson Beck's got to have a big game tonight.
We have to be on our P's and Q's, man. And look, we did well against Texas A&M in a very hostile environment, right? We know how Ohio State fans travel. It's not going to be the same, but it'll be somewhat lopsided in their favor, right? But we sustained ourselves. Penalties were at a minimum against Texas A&M. That's what we got to do again.
And turnovers.
We have to. Yes, and turnovers. So we've got to be disciplined. That was one thing that me and you had not discussed in the previous 2 days was, what if this is a game where it's a turnover determines the game,
Well, Beck in Miami, they've turned it over at key times in the past year.
Yeah, we have, but we actually have the better turnover margin against Ohio State.
Yeah.
By like 4 or 5, I think. So,
And look, I'll say this real quick on the whole turnovers thing. Turnovers are important. There's no doubt. But I will say I've watched a lot of football. You have as well. I don't care about turnover numbers at this time of the year. What I care about this time of year is when do the turnovers happen? Timely mistakes, timely turnovers. If you tell me Carson Beck turns it over in the first quarter and the second drive, okay, whatever. But if Carson Beck turns it over in the third quarter with a minute and a half to play, then we're talking about one of the back-breaking you can't have back-breaking turnovers tonight.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree with that. Again, sometimes it's not necessarily when the turnover happens. Sometimes to me, it can be, well, I lost my train of thought on that one. Yeah, you
got your pick? Do you have your pick?
I do. I'm going 23-17.
Who?
You know who.
I don't know who. Dewey said you're picking against your team on the stream.
Dewey knows better than to say some garbage like that. Y'all know better.
Say it with your
I
chest,
I
Madcraft.
smell something in the water. There's a Cat 5 coming. There's a storm of brewing, baby.
And your pick, one more time, official. Say it with your chest.
23-17, Canes, baby.
23-17. A hurricane is a brewing. Dewey would, refute your weather statement there as he does. All right, let's do it. You got big plans for the game? I mean, going out, staying in? I mean, what's going on? How is Madcraft a diehard Miami fan watching the game tonight?
Okay, ironically enough, I cannot go out. I can't go anywhere. I can't even go hang out with all of my friends who are gathering together to watch this game. I can't do that. I have to sit at home. I have it's like an old 1990s old LED U-shaped window light that I have plugged in on every game day. It's plugged in right now. I am wearing my Miami pajamas. I even went to the store in them earlier. I got my Miami pajamas on, and then I also have a Miami sweatshirt on. with my hoodie on because I'm outside right now. All Miami decked out. My Christmas tree lights are orange and green, and then my light string on my house is orange.
Oh, my God.
We're ready to roll, baby.
So you're not watching it with people just because you're, like, too nervous or what?
Well, no, this is how I've watched
the
most important games all year.
Okay.
I got to do it.
All right. Well, hey, best of luck to you. Happy New Year. Appreciate you, and I'm sure I'll hear from you on my cell phone if you guys do win.
Well, you'll hear from me regardless.
Okay.
But Happy New Year's to you as well, brother, and happy holidays, man. And be careful. And much love.
Appreciate you. Same to you. Same to you. All right, we've got time for one or two more. Let's go to Somerville, South Carolina. Tom in Somerville up next on the TOLO Takeover. I cannot wait to hear what Tom has to say today. What's up, Tom?
Hey, guys. I keep seeing all these people complaining or making fun of the SEC for losing bowl games. All right? Y'all need to get one thing on straight, okay? The SEC every week just gets beat up. They don't play cupcakes, okay? These players, they've been playing for 3 months, just nonstop physicality that these other conferences don't have. And, some of these teams, they could care less about playing in the bowl games. They could care less. So y'all need to understand that the bowl games do not matter when it comes to, conference pride. And if you got something to say, well, you know how it goes. Other than that,
Tom, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. The SEC, the Brutals. I mean, come on, give me a break. That's the dumbest.
True.
No, that's
Everybody
the dumbest
knows
thing.
It's true.
That's so dumb.
All right, let's talk about Mad Cat real quick. Rightfully so, he's happy about his Miami Hurricanes, and I think they're going to win tonight.
Oh,
but the thing is, Miami, they're playing Duke, they're playing Wake Forest, they're playing NC State. They're not playing Alabama every week. They're not playing LSU every week. They're not playing Vanderbilt every week. They're not playing, Georgia every week. They're playing Wake Forest. They did play Notre Dame. I'll give them that one. But it's just common sense. And, that's the discussion that these people don't understand. But, today's New Year's Eve. I just want to say Happy New Year's to all the people out there.
All the Tolos.
All the Tolos. I hope everybody stays safe. And if Dewey's your Uber driver tonight, you might want to just wait for the next one to come around the corner.
Just walk home, right? Just walk.
Just walk home. I know Dewey's going to have a couple ice cold lattes tonight. And, at the end of the day, I think we all are standing behind Mad Cat tonight and hope that the Hurricanes go up there and take care of business to beat the Ohio State Buckeyes. Nobody likes Ohio State.
What's Tom and Somerville's New Year plans tonight?
My New Year's plans tonight is quite simple. My wife asked me what I wanted to, or what we should do tonight.
We.
I said we are watching the Cotton Bowl. She said we. I said it's an invite. Take it or leave it. So I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna find me something to eat. I'm gonna make her a nice dinner. And at 7:30, I'm sitting in the recliner, and I'm not getting up till the ball drops.
Oh man, are you gonna watch the ball drop?
Yeah, I'll be up.
Okay.
I'll watch it.
Okay. All right. Well, Tom, Happy New Year to you and yours. I appreciate you all the way from Somerville, and keep it safe down there in Somerville tonight.
We'll try. Go Gamecocks.
Tom in Somerville. All right. We've got to run. We've got Bill Bender of These Sporting News coming up in the very next segment on the Joy Law Firm text line. Mitchell says, tell Tom to put a seatbelt on. Oh, yeah, no kidding. I'm with you on that, Mitchell. Was that dinging the whole time? I didn't even notice that. I think I'm just so used to hearing Tom call, probably on Bluetooth, right? And that ding, I think I might have missed it today. So, Tom, put your seatbelt on when you call so we don't ding. All right, Bill Bender, These Sporting News next. picked Iowa over Vandy in the post-Christmas bowls and the upset picks challenge. So you and I both hit today.
Oh, good. For sporting news, and I had a particularly brutal last Saturday. It was like, I don't think I hit one game against the spread. I had a tie at the end, and we've got to kind of right the ship a little bit, and we've done that today. And yesterday I hit a couple. I had Illinois covering yesterday. I didn't think they would win though.
So let me ask you this: with Iowa winning, Vanderbilt losing, the Diego Pavia era is over. How do you think college football fans 10 years from now, Bill, will remember Diego Pavia?
As a less impactful Manziel type. I mean, I don't want to shortchange what he did at Vanderbilt. They did win 10 games, and Clark Lee's done a fantastic job. And obviously we'll remember the Heisman moment, but he'll always kind of be remembered as that, I think. Little Manziel, I had to remind people we made a list of Heisman winners the last 25 years back in November, and I said, Manziel was top 5. His numbers were ridiculous that year. They ran into, for the SEC fans wondering, every Big Ten fan watched that Iowa game today. Every fan base has watched it. They are so frustrating to play against on that side of the ball. They always have been, and it always will be as long as Kirk Ferentz and Phil Parker are there.
No doubt. And then a few other games today happening. By the way, Arizona State has come back and now leads Duke 39-35, 11 minutes to go in that one. A really good game happening in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl between Michigan and Texas. Michigan leads Texas 20-17 at the moment. Utah leads Nebraska 24-14. But the big one tonight, Bill, that has our attention, Miami, Ohio State. I don't know if you have any insight, but from the time that I came on the air at 3:00 until now, the line has moved 2 points, which is pretty significant line movement from 9.5 down to 7.5. Still Ohio State laying those 7.5. When you see something like that happen, what's that tell you?
I mean, the bettors are betting heavy on Miami, and there's that undercurrent's been for 2 weeks, and I quite frankly don't understand it. I know I live the bubble here in Central Ohio. Maybe it's a touchdown game, but if it'll come down to Ohio State's pass protection, can they protect Julian Sayin? I mean, I think a lot of people are forgetting that Ohio State allowed 16 points or less in every game this season. Their defense is good too, but it's that sense that Miami's new. Miami's in a huge game on New Year's Day for the first time in a very long time. And it happens to be a game that they really want because, they're up against this team that beat them. I know where I was in that 2003 BCS championship game was played. I can tell you exactly what I was doing. And, the program's gone on different trajectory since. I mean, you remember that before that game, Miami was the national championship powerhouse, and now they're trying to get that back. It's going to be a fun night, though. I can't wait to see what they have for the Buckeyes.
Bill, what do you make of Ryan Day calling plays? I said yesterday it was kind of, in my mind, like riding a bike. You don't forget how to ride a bike. What do you make of that?
Well, I mean, that's how he's come up as an offensive coordinator. It will only be a big deal if they lose.
That's right.
I mean, that's how that works. If they lose and there's some questionable decisions near the goal line or something like that, they did have a couple questionable calls at the goal line last game. And, I think that perception of we overreact to the last game. It's been a month since the team has played in a lot of big games. They'll be comfortable at the Cotton Bowl. So, I mean, like I said, he's done that before. And, for Julian Sayin, it's about the big key. And you'll know early when you watch games like that. You'll know early whether or not Ohio State's offensive line can hold up against that Miami pass rush that did make life miserable for Marcel Reed and Texas A&M.
Yeah. Kind of going back to what you said, Bill, with the respect card. I mean, I'm with you. You do show Miami a lot of respect. They have a good team. Do you think Ohio State fans are showing them respect, or do you think Ohio State – I know you can't speak for all of them, but from the general, thought process that you've heard from a lot of these Buckeye fans, are they worried about tonight's game?
Every fan base is worried at this point. Not worried. I mean, they'll be confident going into that game behind that defense. I think there's a lot of – they're very aware of Reuben Bain and Hakeem Messidor. They are. But then on the other side, it's like Carson Beck has to play well too.
No doubt.
If Ohio State has an All-American player on every level of its defense. They have 2 linebackers, Sonny Styles, Arbel Reese. They have Cade McDonald, Caden Curry. They have Caleb Downs. I think the corners, how they react playing against Malachi Toney, that'll be a huge key in this game as well. And, like I said, there's just an excitement level. It's the quarterfinal. It's New Year's Eve. Ohio State fans have had bad experiences the last 2 New Year's Eve games. I know one was Clemson, and the other was
Georgia, right?
Years ago against Georgia, right at they missed the field goal right as the ball dropped. That was miserable, but I think it'll be a fun game.
Bill, what do you make of this? Pete Thamel reported 1 minute ago, Ohio State redshirt freshman Gabe Van Sickle is expected to make his first career start tonight against Miami. He'll start at right guard as one of their veterans is out tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that's key, But, Ohio State has talent. It's the next man up philosophy. And, again, another reason why this line might be moving around a little bit. So, yeah, I think it does add up to – I know the under is also a popular play here because of both defenses, Miami has an elite defense.
They do.
And so does Ohio State. And I think I went back and watched that old 2003 BCS championship game, and that was a defensive game too. I mean, it was 17-17 before overtime. So, it could very well play out a lot like that one did.
And what's interesting, the team total I saw, I've been pretty lucky this year with the team totals, whoever Ohio State's playing, because their defense has been so good. Right. Miami's team total, Bill, is set at 16. I mean, I like Miami to keep it close and interesting, but I don't know that Miami scores 16 points tonight. How would you lean on that?
I had that's funny. My predictions at Sporting News, and like I said, they've been hit or miss so far in bowl season, but that's how bowl season works. If we're being – I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying through experience, you can have a really good year during bowl season, or you can have a really rough one. You just want to survive. A couple things you said there are really interesting. Their under's been – I don't have it in front of me. I know Ohio State's under's hit quite a bit this year.
24.5
games. I mean, but in the season, like they've hit the under hits a lot.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Because they win like 38-7 or whatever.
Okay.
And I think this game, I'm with you. I mean, I had the final score prediction at 27-14, so I do think it's going to be a defensive game.
Okay. Let me check my notes. Going back to the very first segment of the show today, you said 24-7. I've got it 17-10.
I got 27-14.
Okay.
So maybe a little more. The Buckeyes put in a late. Bo Jackson has to get going on the running game. And I know that's just a fun name to say out loud again. But he had 1,000 yards as a freshman. So he'll be a key player in this game as well.
I like it. I like your prediction there. All right, when you look at tomorrow, you've got Oregon, Texas Tech at noon. Kind of the opposite thinking, the line of thought here. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, Bill. Both teams 12-1. Total set at 51.5, so they're thinking somewhere in the mid-20s. I picked Oregon, but again, I'm kind of unsure on all of tomorrow's games, especially the first two. What are you standing on Oregon, Texas Tech?
Well, it's probably the most intriguing game of the weekend just because I want to see this Texas Tech defense in action. They've played one team all season that averaged 40 points per game. That was Utah. Wow. And they won that game 38-10. And they looked really good doing it. So that's the test. Oregon's a level up from that. The Ducks have obviously, have a more established playoff caliber team with Dan Lanning. And, we'll see if this Texas Tech defense is for real. I know I was around Jacob Rodriguez quite a bit at the Gursky Trophy presentation. We wrote a feature about him this week. One of the absolute good guys in the sport. And they're excited to get after it and see what happens in this game. So I think it's the most intriguing game of the day in a lot of ways because we've seen Georgia Ole Miss. I know there's some layers to that matchup. The Rose Bowl is always going to be a fun game. There's no question. But I look at Oregon, Texas Tech, couldn't be more excited to watch it.
Bill Bender of the Sporting News. Alabama, Indiana tomorrow, 4:00. Indiana favored by 7. I've seen this morning a lot of Alabama picks coming in just from national media. Is it fair to say that we're almost in uncharted waters, Bill, with Bama being an underdog in a college football playoff game.
Yeah, a little bit, but Kalen's a good big game coach. That's part of it, that he has done well. I think he's 6-2 straight up against top 10 teams or something like that, and he knows how to coach in these games. And I talked to Greg McElroy earlier this year, and Greg had an interesting perspective. He said when they're in these big games, he's just totally laid back. He's like, "Oh, this is so cool. I can't believe we're getting paid to do this" type guy, and they'll let it rip. I know weather might actually be a factor. I heard that you see these reports, there might be a little bit of rain. So that's one thing to keep in mind. I do think the running game on both sides will be so key. Can Indiana run at this Alabama front? And vice versa. I mean, Alabama running game's been an adventure all season. So, an old school Rose Bowl type atmosphere where, that running game will matter a lot.
No doubt. Do you like Alabama to upset Indiana, or are you going with Indiana in this one?
I like Alabama to cover the 7.
Okay.
I think we're going to have like a field goal game there.
Yeah.
I did pick Indiana to win. I think I had it at like 24-21. Sounds like we're in a – well, you didn't tell me. I got Oregon winning against Texas.
Yeah, I've got Oregon by like 5.
Same.
Okay.
So we're not making for great radio here because we're agreeing on every single thing. I think that is the – but I'm picking Indiana to win because I just think they're the better team.
Yeah.
And it's for Kirk Cignetti and Fernando Mendoza and that active defense that they have that gets a lot of turnovers, a lot of tackles for loss. I think if they can get after Ty Simpson a little bit, they'll win the game.
No, I'm with you. And then Ole Miss, Georgia, I think of the 4, this is probably the least intriguing game to me. I don't know why. It could be intriguing. It's only a 6-point spread. So maybe I'm just discrediting Ole Miss a little bit. Georgia's kind of the team to me that people aren't talking about, and that's kind of a scary thought in my mind for people not to be talking about Kirby Smart. I like Georgia in this one. What am I missing? Could Ole Miss, in your mind, keep this thing close or possibly win tomorrow night?
They can if Trinidad can push it down the field a little bit. I know that their running game will be key, and they did look really good against Tulane. I'm not saying not having Lane Kiffin doesn't matter, but it looked like they didn't miss a beat in some ways.
Right.
And remember, last time these teams played, it was a great game. It was, there wasn't a punt till the third quarter. But I think you just said it. This Georgia defense is really locked in November. And you're exactly right again that we haven't talked much about Kirby Smart and what a wonderful coaching job he's done this year. And I think they're just going to win this game. So if our picks come true, which I think they might, sounds like we have 3 Big Ten teams and 1 SEC team in the college football playoff.
That's right.
And even if Alabama were to beat Indiana, I think that would create a lot of drama if you had semifinal matchups that were Alabama, Oregon, Ohio State, Georgia.
No, I'm with you on that. With the bracket, I guess you call it, in the quarterfinals tonight and tomorrow, does the bracket and the matchups at all change your preseason prediction of who's going to win it all?
I had Georgia and Ohio State in the championship game. I think I had Ohio State beating Georgia in the preseason, and then I had Ohio State and Texas.
Gotcha.
So I was wrong. But when this bracket came out, I had Georgia beating Ohio State or Georgia beating Indiana in the championship game. And I think I'm going to keep that one for now.
Yeah, I like it. Let's bring it local real quick. Bill Bender of the Sporting News. Garrett Riley dismissed, as well as Mickey Conn, safeties coach at Clemson. Chad Morris is a name that, people are talking about making a return to Clemson as the next OC. Leftwich from Texas Tech. I don't know how far out in left field that one is. Todd Monken from Baltimore is a name that's being thrown out there a lot locally as well. How do you see this playing out in terms of Garrett Riley, that marriage just not working the way a lot of Clemson fans wanted it to, and what the next offensive coordinator hire could look like for Dabo?
They took a shot and missed. And then there was nothing wrong with that shot at the time. Garrett Riley was a really hot coordinator. It was worth a try, and it just didn't work out. So I think, whoever that next coordinator is, if it's Morris, the thing that I've harped on over the last couple of years is we need to see more out of the receivers. I haven't seen a receiver of like T. Higgins or Sammy Watkins or, the laundry list of guys that they had there when I would go to championship games and be like, they're a real problem on the outside.
Yeah.
You can't, in some aspects, Clemson you can rag on Cade all you want, but I mean, look at the guys that came before him. When you go from Taj Boyd to Deshaun Watson to Trevor Lawrence, you hit 3 in a row. And very seldom do programs do that. So I think, obviously that quarterback position will come into focus with the next coordinator as well.
All right, 2 more for you real quick. Kyle Whittingham to Michigan. It's not a sexy hire, but I think I've kind of settled on I like it. I don't hate it. Where are you on that?
No, I think he'll be fine. Yeah. I think he'll do a good job there. It's exactly what they needed. It's not flashy, but it's foundational for the program that really had its foundation rocked in the offseason here with some of the things that happened with Sharon Moore. So I don't mind that hire at all. And then for Kyle Whittingham, it gives him a chance to get to college football playoff. Utah went 10-2 and didn't even get a look at the playoffs. So I think if you go 10-2 at Michigan, as this game kind of is showing right now between them and Texas, this is a high-level game. And he'll be in a lot of high-level games. He'll have more scrutiny on him, but I think he'll do a nice job.
And then, Bill, last one for you before we let you go. When you look at Friday, the transfer portal, from a national perspective, is there 1 or 2 stories that you're kind of tracking above all else Friday?
Quarterbacks, it's just a quarterback shuffle. And, where does Brendan Sorsby go? Where does the one out of all these guys, and I just broke down, we'll have an article tomorrow breaking down all these portal QBs. The one that fascinates me the most is Bill Raiola, the 5-star from Nebraska, who I really think has a ton of talent. He's been sacked too much the last couple of years. What would he do at another program? He's the one I'm definitely keeping an eye on, but there'll be a lot of movement. And, this is part of the game now. You cover it almost like free agency, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's going to be a lot of fun to see who goes where.
No doubt. Bill, you're the best. Happy New Year to you and your family. Appreciate your time all football season, and I look forward to 2026. Happy New Year, Bill.
Hey, Happy New Year to you. Thanks so much for having me on. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.
Bill Bender, The Sporting News, one of the best. Always a good time. Always a good conversation with Bill. All right, going to keep you updated on the bowl games that are happening right now. So really good games, and I mentioned it with Bill there. When it comes to bracket, what's my bracket look like? Who do I now have winning the whole thing? I'll tell you next. a good one with 4 minutes to play. Duke, Arizona State. Arizona State leads Duke 39-35, but Duke has the football on the Arizona State 6, looking to score to take the lead. Texas leads Michigan 24-20 in the third quarter. For whatever reason, I don't know why, we have, I think, Charter here in the studios. I cannot find the Texas-Michigan game on this TV. I've looked like 3 times. I know I'm, kind of slow as it is, but I can't find it. I've looked. I cannot find ABC on, is this, Charter Spectrum here in the Ingalls Market Studios. I've looked, can't find it. I don't know. I've given up. I've tried like 3 times. Whatever reason, it's not meant to be for me to watch Texas and Michigan. So if Tolo's out there, if you have Charter and you're watching it right now, help me out. What am I missing? What am I doing wrong? I don't know why. I can only find every other game, but I can't find Texas and Michigan right now. By the way, Utah leads Nebraska 31-14 in the third quarter. Midway through, Nebraska was a 16.5-point dog. Utah looks like they might be on their way to covering in that one. Earlier today, Iowa defeated Vandy 34-27 in the ReliaQuest Bowl, and Iowa was a dog as well. I had them, and a few others had them in the Upset Picks Challenge. They were 5.5-point dogs. So a few dogs winning today. We'll see if Nebraska can come back. Doubt it. Looks like that one might be in the wraps. But this Arizona State Duke game is phenomenal right now. 3 minutes to go. 3rd and goal. Mensah for Duke is trying to punch this thing in as he has all the time in the world. Pocket finally collapses, and he just lets it rip out of bounds. So 4th and goal. The problem is Duke is down 4. A field goal does them no good. This has been a high-scoring game here. It's been a really good one. In the Tony the Tiger Bowl in El Paso, Texas. I talked about it earlier in the show. What a great sight and view. If you're watching this game, the mountains are right behind the stadium. It's in El Paso. Hopefully, they can get out of there before dark to get back to safety. But really good game, and Arizona State is one play away from maybe sealing. I don't know. There's still 2:56 to go. Duke has 3 timeouts. What do you do here? You got to go for it, but you still have 3 timeouts. So even if you don't get it here, oh my gosh, what are you doing, Duke? Duke just burned a timeout. Oh, what is Manny Diaz doing right now? I don't know. That was a horrible decision. Duke had all 3 timeouts. I get that you want to have a good look and a good call on 4th and goal, but you just burned the timeout. That's detrimental. Let's say you don't get that 4th down. Okay, well, Arizona State takes over at their own 6-yard line with 3 minutes basically to go in the game, and you've got 3 timeouts in your pocket. Now you've only got 2. That's interesting there. Texter from the 275 gets in on the Joy Law Firm text line and says, Cole, who do you think Lonzo is picking in the game tonight? You know who Lonzo's picking. He's a big Ohio State Buckeye fan, so I'm sure he's going to roll with the game. JB gets in and says college football bowl game or college football playoff game predictions. JB, I'll get to that in 1 second. I'll get to your predictions. Here's 4th and goal for Darian Mensah and Duke. This is big. Mensah has the ball at the 7-yard line. Steps up at the pocket, throws. Did he drop it in the back of the end zone? He did. It was a good throw, and Mensah put it right on the money, but the receiver, I don't know if it's a tight end or receiver, just couldn't come down with it. So now Arizona State will take over. But this one's not over. They take over on their own 7-yard line. Duke has 2 timeouts, 2 minutes and 50-ish seconds remaining in this one. So it's not over yet. By the way, JB on the YouTube stream says college football playoff game predictions. He's going Ohio State 21, Miami 10, Bama 28, Indiana 24. Going with the upset there. Texas Tech 34, Oregon 31, going with another upset. And then JB says Georgia 41, Ole Miss 27. So 2 of the 4, JB. I don't hate it. I said earlier in the show with Bill Bender and a few other times that Alabama-Indiana game's really, really difficult to pick. I cannot get a beat on that one. I'm picking Indiana. Picked them in the first segment of the show, but I having a little bit of trouble deciding, well, it's not going to matter how many timeouts. Oh, no. Oh, did Arizona State just fumble? Did Arizona State just fumble? They did. I literally was about to say it's not going to matter how many timeouts Duke has because Arizona State ran for a first down, but the running back got the first down and fumbled. Was he down? Let's see. Oh, man. If you're not watching, no, he was not down. He was not down. If you're not watching this Duke-Arizona State game, you are missing out. Arizona State fumbles the ball. The runner's not down. It's a fumble. Duke has it. Oh, what a game. Duke has new life. And just, 2 minutes to play. Still 2 timeouts. My gosh. The Duke Blue Devils with 2:42. They get the football back. All right, we've got to run to a break. Ramon Robinson, good friend of the show. It's been way too long since we've talked to Ramon, and we've got a lot to catch up on. One of my favorite guests that we bring on the show. We'll talk to Ramon Robinson of RR Elite Quarterback Academy next. Final hour of the show, and it's the final hour of 2025. My goodness, where did 2025 go? So good to be with you for one more hour this year. And man, hour number 4 kicking off with a bang, as it's been far too long, as I'm joined by a good friend of the show and one of the best guests you'll hear ever right here on the Fan Upstate, good friend of mine as well, Ramon Robinson of RR Elite Quarterback Academy. Ramon, how the heck are you, man? Happy New Year.
Hey, Happy New Year, man. I'm doing great. Just came off the field training some guys. They wanted to get a last session in for the new year and take a couple of days and start back off with a bang. It was a little chilly out here today, but we got it done.
It was a little chilly. Right now, you're training guys. I mean, do you have much time at all to watch some of these bowl games going on? Because I'm sure you have guys playing at the college level right now too, right?
Yes, I do. I've had a little opportunity to check out some games. Not much as most people would think. And I don't watch as much football as everybody think I do, man. I get tired of watching it sometimes. So but no, if it's my guys, I'm tuned in. But honestly, if it's not some of my guys that I'm watching, I'll probably fall asleep, to be honest.
I'm with you. Who are some of the hot names coming out right now, high school ranks that you're training, you're really excited about, that people here in the Upstate need to know about?
Just when we say Upstate, I mean, right now, I got my quarterback, of course, who just won a state championship at Northwestern. Was an under the radar guy. People, the odds was against him, but at the same time, he put in the work this off season along with his head coach, Coach Wofford there, who did a great job with, putting him in the best position to succeed. And that was Xavier Means.
Yep.
And, there's a lot more left with him. Like I said before, he's a good quarterback, and he has everything that you're looking for when it comes to being able to pass the ball, run the ball, and the leadership as a whole.
Is he a senior, Ramon?
He's a rising. He up and coming. He's 2027.
Wow, one more year.
And then I have of course Bear Woods.
Yep.
Who's probably, out of all the kids I've had over the years, man, he's probably the kid that I've probably seen have three growth spurts, man. And it's just like noticeable.
Right.
Like noticeable growth spurts to where, this kid started out, training and grinding, with his brother, of course, Cutter's right at 6'4" himself. And, when you're talking about a kid that started out the season right at my height, right at 6'1", 6'2", to right now he's pushing almost 6'5", and, he's doing the things that he has to do to, correct, some of the fundamental things that got away from him, but that's part of the game. As you're going on, because you're not able to be with a guy like me 24/7 once the season gets to going.
Yeah.
And so, but right now, that's what we're just doing, just fine tuning things, getting ready for just the up and coming season, also to some of the exposure camps and things like that.
Talking to Ramon Robinson, former TL Hannah Yellow Jacket, 3-sport star from Anderson right here in the Upstate, talking to him right now in the Upstate on the Fan Upstate. And, man, love having Ramon on the show. Make sure Tolo's out there listening. You give him a follow on Twitter, on X in the meantime. Ramon, let's talk about Lenora Sellers, man. Big news for him returning to South Carolina for 2026. Did that catch you by surprise at all?
No, I didn't. I mean, he got a lot of buzz, and, folks contacted me on all levels, whether it's from, just doing, interviews off the field, character interviews from, pro scouts and things like that, to, of course, schools trying to, get him to come and, transfer. You know how that goes. But I ultimately knew what his situation was, and I'm a part of his support team, and I know what his goals were. And regardless of, how things look, him still having a first-round grade, at the end of the day, he was not satisfied. He was not satisfied with how things turned out at Carolina, with the team as well. And it's just that, everybody thought he was just going to jump ship,
Right.
and just say, hey, I'm going to get the money, whatever it may be. No, this is a young man that, that set goals for himself and the team to where, he wasn't going to leave college football without truly giving himself the opportunity to, achieve his individual goals along with team goals as well that he set for himself every year. And I already knew that. And it's just, me and his dad would always talk about it and just laugh. And I say, hey, man, he's rated here. You're getting this from this angle, you're getting this from that angle. You can still come on out. And it's just like, nah, that boy got goals.
Sure.
So he's not going to leave football on those terms. And, he's wanting to leave his mark at Carolina, saying it's not just about, of course, the ultimate goal is to play professional football. But at the end of the day, the young man had goals that he set for himself. And like I said, not just for him, but as a team as a whole, to where he's wanting to be in playoff play. He wants to win the national championship. He wants to win the Heisman. He wants to win a lot of games. But at the end of the day, they fell short of doing those things. So guess what? He wanted to return, and he wanted to continue to do that, and he wanted to build it and do it right there at Carolina.
And Ramon, I think that says a lot about individual when they do have that desire to, kind of finish what they started. Where's that come from? I mean, you've trained a lot of different quarterbacks over the years. Is that something that's instilled by parents? I mean, not everybody has that.
Man, that's parent. I mean, that's in him. I mean, I can't take credit for that.
Sure.
All I can do is just build on to what has been presented to me. Like I've said it before in the interview, the young man came to me as a man. It's like he was already here before. He was a grown man already. You know what I'm saying? So he came strictly on business. When he first came to me as a sixth grader, he knew what he wanted to do, and he got an old soul. You know what I'm saying? He's not one of these ones out here doing all this stuff. Young men are going to be young men and kids at the same time, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to the game of football and things that he loves to do, he's all about business. He's always been like that. And like I said, he's standing on business. He's not running from the issue, as people want to say, oh, he's going to run and do this and that. No, that's not him. I mean, of course, he could have left last year to do those things.
Yeah.
Everybody in the country knows that. But at the end of the day, he stayed right where he was at, and built the team around him. And that's what he continues to want to do.
What do you think the current, and I know you've talked to some people, at the pro level, what do you think the current prognostication is, the current read on this guy? What's the book on Lenoris after last year? Like, does him not having that 2025 year that a lot of people thought, does that change NFL scouts' minds at all? Or what can you tell us about that?
I mean, I honestly can say it's mixed reviews. I mean, of course, you can see how the season was, and, it's mixed reviews in regards to what he can do. I mean, if people look at it, but at the end of the day, they know he has all the talent in the world. He's most, eye candy guy. You know what I'm saying? He has all the intangibles that everybody wants on the next level and things like that. It's just a matter of putting it all together with a great supporting cast and things like that. And the things that people, and yourself, the things that fans look at and people that's not involved in the game like that, those aren't the same things that you look at on the next level. You know what I'm saying? And you got to look at the game as a whole. Don't look at a play. Look at every piece, all 11 that's on that offense, all 11 that's on that defense. Look at every piece that's going on, not just the centerpiece of, hey, the quarterback, he threw the ball this way, or he did this, or the offensive lineman did this wrong, or versus,
Sure.
Why did he do this? You got what I'm saying? And what made him think to do it this way and put himself in that position? But you won't know that unless you're truly a football person and really sitting down and just looking at the game of football and just understanding all the pieces that has to happen, you know what I'm saying, in order for everyone to be successful. And that's where on the next level, when people saying, hey, you think this and think that, well, let's just go see. With me telling you this, you're not going to listen to me. So therefore, because it'll look like I'm being biased just because I train the young man. But at the end of the day,
anybody know I don't hold my tongue. I don't baby these kids. I keep saying kids, but they're kids to me. But these young men, I don't baby them. I give it to them real, whether they like it or not. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a part of the position that comes. You know what I'm saying? All that comes with the position, and that's how I build them up to be able to take the constructive criticism and the things that people may say and that think that they know about the game, and they don't. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's not built to play this position. You know, everybody's not built to be a head coach. Those are the two most criticized positions on a football team. You know, so it's just, you know, when you talk about that and with where he's rated at and the things that he needs to improve, of course, he knows the things that he needs to improve. You know, and the thing about it is they put that down on the scouting report, but ultimately at the end of the day, it was more positive than negative. I can say that.
Ramon, I've got the Duke Arizona State game on here in the Ingles Market Studios. Have you got a chance to watch Darian Mensah much? I mean, this kid's phenomenal. He was one of the top performers in the country.
Hey, the young man can play football, brother.
Ooh, unbelievable.
I like him. I like him. I like how he plays the game, and he's did a great job since he's been there at Duke. You know, and he's the reason why Duke is in the position that they're in right now. And he's only going to continue to get better. And like I said, that 2027 class is going to be a special draft class. You know, if all these young men continue to produce on the football field. And at the end of the day, I think next year, this year in the NFL is not a quarterback class. Okay? It's not a quarterback class. Next year is going to be that quarterback class when you had the Strouds and all them and the JJ. You know what I'm saying? When you had all those the Mays and the Drake Mays and all those guys. That's going to be that type of year next year in 27 that I think. You know, because it's going to be so talent loaded at quarterback position as long as the quarterbacks are producing on the football field.
Ramon, I was in Columbia a couple of weeks ago when Kendall Briles and the new staff were introduced and Shane Beamer introduced the new hirings. I like Kendall Briles a lot, and I don't know how much of this you can speak on, but this was a talking point amongst us for a couple of weeks there after the season ended. Do you, from what you can share, and again, I know you might not can share everything, but do you think that fans understand fully how it works when a quarterback like Lenoris, the situation he's in? I mean, Beamer spoke on it. You want your quarterback to have say and input and make sure you're getting the right OC. Can you speak on that at all?
I'd rather not. I mean, I get it, but I'd rather not speak on that because I'm not
sure.
I read it, and things like that. Those are not questions I asked Lenoris about. I just asked him we talk about offensive coordinators or who y'all looking at.
Right.
It's not. I didn't ask him like, "Hey, who are you looking at?"
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he never came that. It's just more so of what the school went with. For us when it comes to the head coach and the AD. I mean, but other than that, there's nothing I can elaborate on anymore when it comes to that. I think they did get a good guy.
Yeah.
When it came to Kendall, I mean, I've watched his coaching and play calling over the years, and I think he's a guy that is going to do great at Carolina and for the quarterback room.
What about this past season? Can you speak on what maybe the disconnect was, not between Shula and Lenoris, but maybe just one of the reasons or two of the reasons that you saw when you watched South Carolina offensively that, we talked about the offensive line and obviously that's a big part of it. But when you saw their inability to kind of take that next step, what were a few things that you pointed to?
Well, if I'm going to be honest, the things that I saw, and I will say that I'm not getting into the play calling and all this and that stuff, but I just think I think they played as a team. Let me say it this way. I think they played as a team the last 3 games of the year, and I think they was having fun with what they were doing.
Sure.
And I think they took advantage and finally started looking at, the weaknesses of what was up front and started doing a lot of things for us with getting the ball out their hand for us when it came to quick game play and things like that. That's the one thing that I always looked at throughout the whole year is that they needed to do more, quick game stuff just to keep the defense unbalanced. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And to help out the offensive line a little bit more, throw the quick game, and then all of a sudden now you can sit back there and throw the ball deep. And that was the success of the Carolina program the last few games of the year, and they was rocking on all cylinders. You know what I'm saying? When they were doing that, I mean, you can go back and say Texas A&M game, but you got to end it at the end of the day. You're talking about a fresh OC. I think he put everything he possibly could into the first game, and I think that he did a good job. And you know what I'm saying? It was only so much that he could do in the amount of time, but at the end of the day, they had a great scheme. It's just the fact of it is they just had to finish, and they didn't finish that game. But ultimately, at the other games, you could kind of see that the guys, everybody on the field and offensive side of the ball started having more fun. And I think that came about with, you know, going and being, you know, putting the game, you know, at a standstill so where everybody could see what's going on. And I think the guys was able to see that, hey, we need to do more quick game things and scheming that way, and then we can go down the field and hit them hard.
Ramon, last question for you, man. When you look at quarterbacks coming up that you're training right now, the game's obviously changing at all levels, but like when you're training these quarterbacks, have you noticed over the years, whether it be their football IQ or the way that they kind of read defenses or go through progressions or whatever it might be, do you notice the kids changing from an IQ development standpoint? I mean, obviously the physical traits have to be there with an individual as well, but talk about the mental aspect of it, because I know you've had some pretty sharp minds over the years as well.
Well, that's where it starts. Like I said, you can be physically talented. I've seen plenty of guys physically talented when it comes to the game, but ultimately they can be lazy when it comes to learning and knowing the game. You know what I'm saying? Like just like what we talked about earlier, fans are fans of the game of football, but do you really know football?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what some of the guys, you can be overly infatuated with, oh, I'm a football player, I'm a quarterback. But at the end of the day, if your coach ain't telling you where to throw the football, do you know football?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or do you know what a defensive front looks like? Do you know what this coverage looks like? Would you know what a cover 2 invert? You know what cover 3, cover 4, cover 0? Do you know what they're trying to do when they're baiting you into this and that with this coverage versus that? And what I've seen is that's where on the field, I'm more of a on hands. I love to be, you know, hands-on with the guys and kind of show them from a field standpoint versus because what I've noticed is all quarterbacks learn offenses, learn coverages and defenses in different ways. So you got to be able to put them in position to learn that. And so what it is, we as quarterbacks, we as men, we're more hands-on as men, not just quarterbacks, but men and athletes. We're hands-on. If we're hands-on and physically able to do it versus writing it here, writing it there, you can get a better response out of the guys. And that's where I felt like a lot of guys that I've trained over the years have been very successful with learning, you know, the coverages and knowing what they can do in different coverages with the ball, you know, rather than trying to throw the ball down the field, you know, a go route on cover 3. You know what I'm saying? So, and a post route in cover 3 is just that you got to understand that in zone coverages, they want you to, they're trying to keep everything underneath. You just got to know that the middle of the field is open. You know what I'm saying? Not unless they're trying to run a Tampa 2 and the linebacker shooting to the middle of the field, trying to rob the digs and things like that. And it's just that's where the advancement, and that's where you've seen the level of quarterback play in South Carolina that with the quarterbacks here that has gotten even better. And that's why we do the QB legacy camps that we do that, you know, I do every year with, you know, me, Ronville, Woodrow Dancer, Donovan McNabb, and all of us, and, you know, and Quincy Carter and everybody. So that's why we do those, because when we put them in a setting, you know, and Kelly Bryant as well, he's one of the coaches as well.
Yeah.
That's why we do those camps to where we can sit these guys down and show them the difference of just throwing a football around. Now let's sit down and break down the coverage and know where you're going with the ball.
Yeah. Love that. Hey, real quick, before we let you go, did I miss any guys? We were talking about, you know, up-and-comers across the state. Did I miss any guys that you like to shout out that you think have a bright future ahead of them at the high school level?
Coach, oh, man, I'm a miss. See, you be
I know it.
You do this to me every time, but you know what? You know, I got Gideon over at Riverside.
Gideon Merritt, good quarterback, man. I was impressed with him this year.
Yes, he's doing some great things, man, and just, you know, I get it. We're in the upstate, man, but I got kids all over the state.
Yeah.
And all these kids have done some great things, and you know, it's just, I mean, you know, I'm even with Jared Curtis, who was going to Vanderbilt. You know what I mean? I had my quarterback that's down at Bamberg. He won a state championship.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, Brian McMillan. I mean, I got guys that's a little bit of everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't want to miss out on anybody.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just
a lot of good ones.
Yeah, you know, I had Messiah Jackson. He led us to the state. Dre Dobson led Irmo to the state.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just, did they finish? No, they didn't finish. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I had a lot of guys that played some great football. I had a good recruiting class that's going to college. I mean, you know, and you got Gavin Owens, who's getting ready to go to Memphis. You know, and that 26th class. So, you know, I'm pretty pleased with the guys that I have so far. Then you got Trey Burke. Trey Burke is committed to ECU. Yeah. He's coming off an injury, and we're looking for him to come back and get back 100% and be in position to compete at ECU. But, you know, it's like I said, it's a lot more guys that's going to, you know, commit within the next few months in the class of 2026. But those are the guys that were early, you know, commits. But, you know, the 27, that 28 class, I mean, you know, I got some good guys in that 27 class, that 28 class, and also that 29 and 30. I know it's young, but I mean, I would have to say this, man. I got a kid that's training with me, and I don't care what nobody say about it, but he is one that's going to draw a lot of attention. He's a 6'5", 8th grader, Baldwin High School. Just remember the name Eli Frisk.
Okay,
yeah,
I like that.
I mean, things like that you can't coach, man.
Sure.
You know, but when you talk about eye candy and things like that, and he's already ahead of the game, man.
Yeah.
He's ahead of the game when it comes to fundamentals and the IQ. And when you got all those things put together and you talking about the eye candy, and it's a beautiful thing to see.
Well, Ramon, as always, man, appreciate the heck out of you. Love talking to you. Love catching up, and our listeners love it as well. And Happy New Year, man, to you and yours. Appreciate you as always.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Absolutely. Ramon Robinson, RR Elite Quarterback Academy. Always a fun conversation and a really good time with Ramon, and a lot that we got into. If you missed any of it, you can go back on the free Odyssey app, AUDACY. It's broken up in chapters. It'll also be online here in just a few moments at thefanupstate.com. Love Ramon Robinson. Sports Talk Media Network, one of my favorite people on planet Earth, and it makes me sad that this is the last time I'll talk to Smitty in 2025, but I'm glad because I know Smitty, as gracious as he is, will join us in 2026. So much to get to, Smitty, as always. Very much appreciative of your time on this New Year's Eve. First of all, Happy New Year to you and yours. Do you have big plans tonight?
I don't. I have no plans. I'm of that age. I'm in bed. I'm in bed before midnight. You know,
it's okay. That's good.
It's more like used to be. I was out trying to find a different girl to kiss every year on New Year's, trying something different to drink, bringing it in, and now it's like 8:30. I got the sleepy time tea. I have a book in front of me. It's changed. I'm a little bit ashamed. But it's just you and me talking. So
nobody else is listening. That's right.
Yeah, I don't ring it in anymore, man. I sleep right through it.
Absolutely. Matt Smith, Smitty of Sports Talk Media Network. Man, a lot to get to. Let's start with the biggest news this week. It was Monday evening around 6:05 when it broke that Garrett Riley had been let go, as well as Mickey Kahn, the safeties coach at Clemson. What was your immediate reaction to that? We'll get into here in a few minutes in terms of the replacement at OC, but what was your immediate reaction?
That you were right. That I said, oh, God, I'm never going to hear the end of this, because you called. We had been talking all season, and you said, I'm telling you, both these coordinators, meaning South Carolina and Clemson, you said both these offense coordinators are gone. These offenses are trash bags. There is nothing here. The fans hate these guys. There's huge problems. It's not a good fit. They're both gone. And, you know, I said that so I was wrong. You were right. But in my defense, I thought Garrett Riley could save his job if they beat South Carolina and won a bowl game. And they only did one of the two, and the offense didn't look good in the bowl game. And just a quick aside there, who thought Cade Klubnik's career would end this way, would go this way? 2 years ago, I never would have dreamed that Cade Klubnik would lead an offense that was this inept. He would regress to this level. And, you know, 2 years ago, the talk was, will he rise? Will he ascend to the level of a Trevor Lawrence or of a Deshaun Watson? Instead, if you're ranking Cade Klubnik, he's now, as Dabo Swinney quarterback, he's well below, in my opinion,
Taj Boyd.
Taj Boyd.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point, it wasn't a discussion. He was going to lap Taj Boyd in terms of accomplishments, team victories, and all those things. And now you look back on it and you're like, no, Klubnik doesn't even reach Taj Boyd, and he's just kind of barely above DJ Uyunglele. So I can't believe it went that way, but you called it, man. You said this is not a good fit. He'll be fired, and he was. I
don't know if I called it other than I'm, an emotional fan, right? And maybe that was, I'll take the credit though. I appreciate that. You brought up the bowl game. It was really bad watching that game. Obviously both teams had a lot of opt-outs, but we're to the point now where you want coaches, Smitty, you want coordinators to be able to squeeze the oranges and lemons and get the most out of what they have on the field. Do you think that'll be one of the top issues when fans look back with Garrett Riley? I mean, you take Saturday, for example. No, he did not have a full cast of characters, but he had a starting quarterback. He had a starting running back. Do you think that'll be what Garrett Riley's remembered for, just not being able to get the most out of his guys?
Yeah, I think he'll be remembered as someone, really, he'll be tied to Cade Klubnik.
Yeah.
Diesel brought this up last week in our discussion. Isn't it interesting that Garrett Riley only had Cade Klubnik as his quarterback? That those two just were tied at the hip in terms of, Cade Klubnik's now leaving Clemson, Garrett Riley's leaving Clemson. So when we go back, if you watch these games on ESPN Classic, or pull them up on YouTube later, things, good or bad that Cade Klubnik accomplished, a lot of it will be with Garrett Riley. And then the camera will slide to Garrett Riley in the booth, and you'll see him there. And we'll all remember, oh yeah, that really bad season in Garrett Riley's and Cade Klubnik's senior year. Garrett Riley was his offensive coordinator, and they were together for those those 3 years. It's just that's what we'll remember. And yeah, you said not getting enough out of it. You know, Garrett Riley came in and said it was going to be the dirt raid offense because at the time Clemson had 2 talented running backs in Shipley and Maffa, and they were going to run the football. And Garrett Riley was just not cut out to do that. In my opinion, they never really worked the run game this year, and they got away from it even when it was picking up yards per carry. They never established the run game the entire season. And I mean, to me, that's what I'll remember them for, is they did a lot of talking in the offseason about what kind of team they were going to be. And then what was actually on the field, the product on Saturdays, looked nothing like what they said it was going to look like.
And, you know, you're right. I talked about that a little bit yesterday on the show, Smitty. Look, the reality is Garrett Riley, you know, in part is to blame for his inability to take Clemson's offense to the next level. But at the same time, like, how do you have the conversation of what you just brought up, which I agree with you, by the way, the run game or lack of running game? Like, there was no commitment to the run game. But then if I was playing devil's advocate, Smitty, I could say, well, wait a minute. Would Kirby Smart be having to move a running back from receiver, you know, to running back to run the football? I mean, and to your point, you brought it up with Cade Klubnik's his only guy. So even though Garrett Riley is to blame, do you think it's fair for a lot of Clemson fans to think, well, maybe there's just, and I made a video about it yesterday, maybe there's more issues than just the offensive coordinator right now?
Well, there is. You just said it about Adam Randall shifting from wide receiver to running back. I have no problem with them doing that. Here's the problem I have. Why wasn't somebody pushing him?
Yeah.
Where is all the, look, Gideon Davidson. That's a big name recruit. You can't, what we have a bad habit of doing, and I mean anybody that covers Clemson, is when a player like Gideon Davidson is recruited and everybody sees where he is and how he's evaluated and he's being recruited to Clemson, everyone says, Gideon Davidson, can you believe it? Can you believe they landed him? He's going to be the starter. In a year and a half, everybody's going, just Gideon Davidson. I mean, I don't know. You don't have to get him carried. It can't happen that fast. There has to be better development. And when Clemson goes out and recruits players like Antonio Williams, like Adam Randall, like Cade Klubnik, who, by the way, was very highly recruited, elite 11 quarterback, like Gideon Davidson, like Peter Woods defensively, all these guys, they have to play up to that reputation.
Can I pause you for a second? Do you mind if I interrupt?
Go for it.
I'm with you, but at the same time, and I've talked about this before, I wanted to pause you because I don't want to forget about this. I think you're right. I think you have to understand and evaluate the recruiting rankings and all that. But, and again, I hadn't been in a lot of other markets collegiately. Smitty, is it as simple as maybe the Clemson media just is too high on their own you-know-what sometimes? And I mean, come on, let's just call it like it is for a minute.
Look, of course, there are pockets of this. Clemson is not alone in this.
Yeah.
But Clemson is, because Clemson has national championships in the last decade, there is no question what you say is true. That there is usually, if Clemson's winning, here's what sometimes you'll see. You and I will watch the same game. We will watch Clemson struggle against a team with nowhere near the same level of talent in ACC play. And we will come out of that and have this conversation on your show and say, this Clemson team has to get it together. They didn't look great. They didn't blow out and insert mediocre ACC team here. They didn't look great against Pitt, or they didn't look great against Louisville, whatever it might be. They've got to do better. They should have pushed Wake Forest around, and they didn't do it, in the last few years, whatever game it is. And then you'll see it, and the pushback from, as you say, people that cover Clemson on a daily basis is always, they worked their magic. Didn't have their best stuff, but they still got to win. That's what you see out of Dabo Swinney and this staff. You absolutely see that. You definitely see it in the recruiting as well, that it's all going to work out. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. That these guys are highly recruited and this staff will develop. Well, now that's over now. That always worked when Clemson was ACC champions. That always worked when Clemson had 10 wins. Now there is stink on the program. It is real. Now they have to own it. Now I'm telling you, the people that actually cover the team have to look in the mirror too and say, maybe we were too high on these guys. And that's absolutely true. And maybe I overrated Clemson a little bit. I bought into a lot of this. I always remind myself, and I think I say it on this program and this slot a lot. And here's why. I say this a lot. Cade Klubnik was highly recruited.
Yeah.
There's something going on in the lack of development in the program. You can't have all these guys that are highly recruited and they go out and they win 7 games and do what they've done the last 2. They made the college football playoff last year, and anybody that thinks there wasn't something wrong with that team last year wasn't paying attention.
Sure.
They backed into the college football playoff last year, beating an SMU team, by the way, that is a middling recruiting team. So you are absolutely right that this didn't get revealed fully until they started to lose some games. But this has been trending in this direction for years. And finally, people that cover the team have to look in the mirror and admit it.
Yeah, and I think people who also cover the team have to also evaluate themselves and say, talking about media, radio, print media, everything, and say, hey, are we look, there's nothing wrong with being fans. Nothing wrong with it. Fans, look, fans love fans. We love it. That's why we love it. But I think that the media also has to evaluate themselves and say, hey, do I care more about being honest and trying to do a little bit more homework and study and dig and make sure that I really know really know these players, or I'm just going to take the easy road and be a fan, get everybody hyped up, because, it just becomes kind of old. It does. And again, I don't mean to throw shots at the other station here in town all segment, but it just becomes like, your credibility's there. That's fine. Wonderful. But the fanboy stuff just becomes very old, especially when you said it, Smitty, the program does have a little bit of stink on them.
I think so. And yes, but look, I want to be clear about this. Clemson is not alone in this. This used to go on at Penn State and probably still does up there. When I've traveled up there, I've seen it. I've seen it also at Notre Dame, where look, to me, this is some things go into the X.com, Twitter, the artist formerly known as Twitter, the X.com Hall of Fame. This is one of them. A Notre Dame fan tweeted out during the Texas A&M Miami game, like with an eye roll emoji, watching a college football playoff game, and we would have beaten either one of these teams. And someone had to point out, they both beat Notre Dame this year.
Right.
Texas A&M and Miami played Notre Dame and beat you. But that is the attitude, and it permeates the fan base. And I agree with you. And I'm not taking shots at anybody because I have so many good friends in the Clemson media, but I would completely agree. Here's what when Clemson doesn't lose, Clemson plays poorly but doesn't lose. But the fact that it's not often confronted that sometimes their schedule allows them to go out. There's 2 different kinds of Clemson seasons. Sometimes they're 10-3 and they're great, and sometimes they're 10-3 and they're just mediocre. And if the Clemson people, I want to be careful, but some of the reporters that cover them on a daily basis have not done their fans a service by noting the difference between those 2 10-3 records.
Yeah.
And sometimes Clemson gets away with beating a bunch of mediocre teams and building their record up, and they're just not that good. And that was the Clemson team last year. I know they made a comeback in the fourth quarter, but I was there in Austin, Texas. There was a mile of difference between the level of talent on Texas's sideline versus Clemson's sideline. And the fact that wasn't addressed properly coming into this season, that's a failing on Clemson's part. And you're absolutely right. I don't think it was talked about enough in the preseason. We should have seen this coming, in other words.
Yeah, I'm with you. Matt Smith, Smitty, Sports Talk Media Network. Let's get to the next OC. By the way, real quick, this is too good not to talk about. Yesterday, Will Vandervoort of the Clemson Insider on this show, on these airwaves, said that this next OC hire would be Dabo Swinney's final OC hire at Clemson.
Ooh.
Your reaction?
That's what I said about Shane Beamer and his next OC hire. I don't know. By the way, I like Will.
Me too.
I know what he's getting at. What he's getting at is that I think Clemson fans are probably tired of seeing this kind of it's not a revolving door, but just you can't just say, hey, Wes Goodwin's the problem, and then fire Wes Goodwin, and you get Tom Allen, and the defense looks the same.
Yeah.
Then you say, well, now wait a minute, is this a Wes Goodwin problem? Is this a Tom Allen problem? Or is this a Dabo Swinney problem? And now we're saying the same thing about the offense. Was it a Brandon Streeter problem? Is it a Garrett Riley problem? Or is it a Dabo Swinney problem? And that's what Will is getting at, is that does does this program need a new captain at the top making these decisions? And I don't know. I hear what Will's saying. I just feel like the reality of actually Clemson and Dabo Swinney parting ways, that just feels like a movie. Like it's not real. Like it's fantasy. Like he's always going to be there if he wants to be there. I just feel that way. But I hear what he's saying. And what I'll say this, I agree with his underlying point, which is if Dabo Swinney's next hire is not a great one at offensive coordinator, everyone's attention will not be to blame the offensive coordinator. It will be to blame Dabo Swinney because he can't just hire Wes Goodwin, Tom Allen, Garrett Riley, and then this next offensive coordinator. And if it doesn't fix the problem, you stop blaming the people that are hired and start blaming the people that are doing the hiring.
All right, so I'm going to throw two names out there, and there are other names obviously circulating, but which could you see happen? Which is more likely in your mind, Smitty? Chad Morris coming back to Clemson or Todd Monken saying, you know what, Derrick Henry, nah. Lamar Jackson, meh, I'm going to go back to college. I'm going to go to Clemson, South Carolina. Which is more likely in your mind?
Well, the Chad Morris thing seemed crazy. This is actually something Phil Kornblum brought up during the middle of the season. And that seemed crazy because, you know, it's a reconnection and going, it's a retread going back to someone who had coached there, been Dabo Swinney's offensive coordinator previously. I don't know what the draw is for Todd Monken. I don't know what that is precisely. To me, Todd Monken feels like an NFL guy.
Yeah.
Just when I hear, there's certain people like Schottenheimers and there's certain names that feel like we're NFL guys, and Todd Monken feels like he's one of them to me, like Shanahan, like Kyle Shanahan. I just feel like he's always going to be an NFL guy. The Chad Morris fact, that is interesting to me because Chad Morris, I don't know. I'll say this about him. By the way, I like Chad Morris. I liked him the first time he was at Clemson. I do respect him and I do like him, even though it hasn't worked out as a head coach for him in 2 stops at Arkansas and SMU. I do like him. But if I can dig into the weeds very quickly, I'll say this about him. One thing that concerns me, if Chad Morris were to return to Clemson, is this. I feel like he was one of those guys like Chip Kelly and Gus Malzahn that came out and were running the up-tempo offense at a time that defenses were not ready for it.
Yeah.
That Kelly in Oregon and Malzahn at Auburn and Chad Morris at Clemson, they were taking advantage at that point over defensive coordinators being flat-footed and playing catch-up. Have you seen Chip Kelly have a lot of success recently? Mm-hmm. Have you seen Gus Malzahn have a lot of success recently? The answer is no. And Chad Morris, it looks like teams may have caught up with him as well. That's my concern, is if you now turn the page. So page 1 is tempo. That's what you want to do. We're about tempo. We're all about tempo. That's what we're going to install. Okay, now turn the page. Once the defense is ready for your tempo, what's page 2? And at that point, and I want to say it again, I like Chad Morris. I respect Chad Morris. But page 2, what changes? How are you a different play caller? How are you a better play caller than Garrett Riley or anybody else after the defense is ready for tempo? And there may be an answer to that. There may be a page 2. We didn't see it at Arkansas. We didn't see it at SMU. But I have concerns about that Kelly, Malzahn, and Chad Morris really benefited from the up-tempo renaissance that took place earlier this decade. And I think defenses have caught up.
So with that being said, Smitty, what do you think the best fit is? I mean, obviously you and I, we're going off reports that everybody else is going off of here, but for Dabo Swinney, knowing this program like you and I do, covering it, seeing what they need, and we've talked about it, there's other issues outside of who the next offensive coordinator is going to be, but what do you think the best fit? When you talk about needing a guy, kind of like that Shane Beamer conversation, you need a good hire. I think Beamer made that good hire with Kendall Briles. Who's that good hire in your mind that would sell the fan base?
Oh, well, I don't know about selling the fan base because I feel like this is a fan base now that's going to have their arms crossed and play wait and see.
Yeah.
But I'll say this, what you're talking about, if you look back at the history of Dabo Swinney at Clemson and the success he's had, it's always been someone in my mind where they have been of a like mind, whether it's been Scott or Elliott, Venables defensively, whatever it is, they have agreed. What the issue with a guy like Garrett Riley that I always thought was going to be an issue with Coach Sweeney was, I think Coach Sweeney is looking at the ball game, is watching the game from the sideline, and he's thinking, just knowing Coach Sweeney's history, he's thinking one thing, and Garrett Riley was thinking something else. So to me, it made it really easy for them eventually to part ways because I didn't think they were aligned. You know, there's certain things that need to be aligned. And I think Tony Elliott was absolutely aligned with Coach Sweeney. It's almost like they were of the same mind because Coach Elliott grew up under Coach Sweeney.
Well, this is it. 2026 is around the corner, Tolos, and my goodness, it was a lot of fun this year in 2025. I want to make sure I say thank you to all of the Tolos who listen every single day, whether you call in, text in, tweet, or whether you listen quietly in the car, at work, at home. Every single one of you matter, and we do not take that for granted. I can tell you that. I know this year has, brought some changes here to the station, and some of you didn't like those changes, and I get it. But Diesel and I, we appreciate you sticking with us. We're lucky to do this for a living. 2026 is going to be a wild ride. From me, Happy New Year. May God bless you and your family, and thank you for being a TOLO.